before it. That gets really exciting when you're waiting to see who's going to find it first, or if they find it at the same time. That makes it exciting.
And our runners are off. So Yoshi, of course, with the Pikachu sprite, as expected. And it looks like Daotome has a sort of neon link going on over there. Both of them look pretty cool. We'll get the first item here, and it's starting off with a fetch quest. We get a mushroom.
Yeah, getting a mushroom early doesn't really help anything quite yet. And that is actually, it is called Neon Link. So you got it right there. So as we head to the uncle, real quick, what do you want to see?
Well, I talked to Daotome earlier, and he was thinking Fire Rod. I think Bombs is probably the one that shows the most execution skill, followed closely by Cane of Burna. So I would like to see either Cane, really, or Bombs. And we do get Cane of Samaria.
There you go. I like seeing the kind of the off-standard things. So like your canes or bombs, bow, hammer, sword. Those are pretty easy. These really you get to see runner kind of see some strategies, different things that they could use, and really go with unique ways to take care of enemies. As we see Yoshi there use it to help kill off some of the green guards. Oh, it does get a nice magic refill off of that.
Yeah, our runners will be able to do a little bit of farming for bombs, not quite as much as usual, but there are spots where there's especially a lot of the rats in the sewers will form up on each other, and you'll be able to just throw a block over there and get a lot of kills at once. Hopefully get that bomb drop for that sewer's escape chest.
Yeah, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Yoshi's really trying to get some bomb drops right now, and I don't know if you noticed, they're dropping a lot of magic refills, so this might actually not be bad play. He's been using his cane like crazy, and he doesn't look like he's used any of his magic.
And he's advancing those prize packs, so hopefully he'll get something. There are a couple of pots here at the top of this room, but the cane there is a little bit faster. Not sure about the cane on this guy, but all right.
Just pushed it up there. Waited for him to get in line with it and use it. But it's definitely, Yoshi really wants some bombs early, so he doesn't have to worry about it later.
So now you'll notice that this is kind of slowing him down. So he's playing the odds here where if he gets a bomb and there ends up being something like gloves that escape it and it's the only glove available and Daotome does not, then it's going to save him a ton of time. So this is already, we're only 2.5 minutes into the seed, and already that's pretty much a gamble.
Yeah, no, he is gambling pretty hard on getting some bombs early. Looks like he's maybe like, okay, green guards are down. Let me get through this. I'll try. My guess, he's waiting for the rats and the snakes.
I mean, if at all, the odds that it's going to pay off are not very big. Like I said, it has to be specifically a glove, the first glove without access to the second glove in the back of Escape. That's really going to make you pay for it.
Yep. Although Yoshi's both runners doing a very good job with the cane by letting them hit the block, and so they're getting the most out of their magic uses. As we get the flute in Zelda's chest, that's a pretty nice early flute.
Yeah, it'll be very convenient for the runners to activate that on their initial trip through Kakariko. So they're both welcome. Very happy to see that. Hopefully they'll get a bottle at some point too to make that Kakariko initial visit even more efficient.
100% agree with that. You always love being able to get your Kakariko taken care of in one visit. Yoshi, he just burning through his magic to take care of that ball and chain guard right there.
Still got plenty of magic left for the rest of Escape. There's only one more enemy he really needs to kill, and if he's smart, there's a lot of little pots in the sewers that give magic drops.
Yes, indeed. You got that rat with the key. You have to kill the right one, so you got to be careful. Make sure you do kill that right one if you're running low on whatever the resources that you have coming into this escape sequence.
So you can already see Yoshi's farming for bombs has left him a little bit behind here, but so far with neither runner having bombs and Yoshi having his prize pack significantly more advanced than Daotome's, there's going to be, it could still go either way as far as who comes out of this escape ahead.
Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting to see how things unfold with Yoshi's prize pack farming there. But we got a little ways till that becomes relevant, so we'll have to see how they manage the rest of Escape going through the sewers, particularly again with that one rat.
So Daotome skipping the little magic under a pot here at the beginning, tries to kill this rat, gets it, no drop though. So it looks like he is going to farm for bombs. Farming these snakes in this room, very popular with the fighter sword when runners have it, but they take a little bit too much damage in order to kill. So he's skipping right over those.
Yeah, not as easy to kill with that can of Samari. And again, you got to make sure you have the energy, or the magic, excuse me, for that rat. If you can't kill that rat, you're in big trouble.
Thankfully, there are magic pots, and Yoshi already picking up some of those magic pots here, making sure he's got plenty of magic for farming.
Yep, he definitely seems to have a better maybe. Oh, there we go, bomb drop for Yoshi. That could be big.
And we'll see what it ends up coming up with. If it ends up being junk items, or if it ends up being the glove, or something in between. We'll see how much that'll advance him pretty quickly here, as Daotom's going to try to farm. Last-ditch effort here. He's out of magic, and he's leaving. So no chest for him, while Yoshi will get the chest. So Yoshi is at least partway there in making this gamble work. We'll see what those 3 items are.
Yeah, just got to get that rat. No problem. Gets the key. He has everything he needs to be able to get the full clear on escape and the moment of truth to see if all that farming was worth it for Yoshi. We do get bombos outside of the sanctuary chest. We got a piece of heart, a bottle, and the shovel in the back of escape.
So that could very well lead to something early. Either of those items, the bottle or the shovel, can lead to a glove, which would be the most important thing, the ideal thing that Yoshi would want to see. And both of those, more importantly, can make your initial trip through Kakariko more efficient.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, if they could get a bottle going into Kakariko, they're able to take care of everything. What does Yoshi get? He gets a bottle filled with green or blue goo, so that's a pretty nice little pickup.
We get a question in chat about fake powder. Now, with the cane of Samaria and with the mushroom, our runners will have the opportunity to do fake powder. With that flute there, it's tough to tell whether or not you don't have access to Batcave right now, as you would need the hammer or you would need the Dark World access with the Titan's Mitts and the Moon Pearl in order to get there. But so as far as leaving that sequence break opening, I would be very much in favor of it. I would do probably a save and quit at some point, and then with that flute directly to the witch, check to see what the mushroom is, and then if it's not anything that I need or not a progressive item of any kind, yeah, I would then do a hard reset of my console to keep that mushroom, so I would have the option later on for the fake powder if necessary.
And that all does depend on if they get the real powder coming up before they even get to that moment. We do see our first map check, and it is 3 regular crystals in the light world.
Always a good sign. Unfortunately, it does increase the chances that something like Thieves Town ends up being a pendant, but you always want to see those light world dungeons be crystals. And we have both canes now after going to the Thieves Hideout in the forest here, as Daotom makes his way to Kakariko with those 3 bombs in hand.
Yeah, and that is a nice pickup on those 3 bombs. They don't have to worry about buying bombs, because this has been a pretty poor seed so far. As you notice, both runners under 50 rupees, which is what they would have needed to buy bombs. So picking those up is a big advantage for both of them going into Kakariko. They don't have to worry about... They can clear Kakariko now. Still going to need more bombs later, though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting whether they find money or not. If they find enough money to get those 150 rupees to both buy 10 additional bombs, plus pay the bottle vendor 100 rupees, then that'll be kind of the best of both worlds here. We get a book, so we're certainly there, and we get those 300 rupees, so that is the best scenario. If they hadn't gotten any money throughout this Kakariko trip, the options would have been to either farm some money here in Blind's house to get money for more bombs, or farm bombs directly in the bombable hut in the bottom left.
Yes, that is always a good option. You can get 4 each time through there. I'd have to make sure you save 1 bomb to be able to get there, but once you do that, you can go ahead and get some farm farming going. So, but they get plenty of rupees, as you pointed out, and won't have to worry about that as much now.
So Daotom falls down the well. He's going to give us our first peek into what this well holds. Nothing so far, but picking up a couple more rupees under those spots. He's already at 450. He really wants to get to that 600 mark for 100 for the bottle vendor and then 500 for Zora. After that, the rest of the rupees kind of fall into place. There is a little bit needed beyond that, but 600 rupees early is very good. He's going to spend 100 right here after getting really nothing but rupees in the well for, we're going to find out, it's a heart piece.
And I imagine we'll see him go down and buy bombs. You never want to leave well, he won't have any bombs after he leaves Kakariko. So I imagine we'll see both runners buy bombs since we're not getting any other bombs after that initial pickup.
Yeah, and without the flippers and without the Moon Pearl to sequence break it, you're not really going to go over to the Zora area for just the one Zora item, especially when it's a sequence break.
Yeah, that's true. And until they get something like the Moon Pearl or flippers, Zora is definitely out of the question for now. I can't imagine seeing our runners go all that way for a potential item that could be potentially good and use all your rupees.
And if you're looking at Daotom's screen, you might notice that some of the other denizens of Kakariko Village have also decided to become a little bit neon. That's because the color palette for Link is shared with various other NPCs and sprites throughout the world. So you might see a little bit of discoloration here as Daotom picks up his 10 bombs. And Yoshi's going to pick up a heart container. So far, Back of Escape, not that big of a deal. Still have the shovel as a potential out to make that gamble pay off.
Yeah, I mean, right now at this point, it's mostly just a time and convenience. He doesn't have to worry about it anymore. He knows what was in there, and he's taking care of it. He'll be able to check that shovel pretty quick here as well. And we do get an early ice rod, which you know what that usually means. Turtle Rock is going to be required, whether pendant or crystal. If you get an early ice rod, it just feels Turtle Rock is screaming at you.
Ice Rod's nice to find early because it's an item where it can really end up being anywhere, and it's absolutely miserable to have Turtle Rock be required and Ice Rod to be the last item you need to find in order to get into go mode, because it could be absolutely anywhere on the map.
The only place that it cannot be is if Turtle Rock is a crystal in Ganon's Tower or on Trinex himself. And like you said, it can be an absolute nightmare trying to get that rod.
So Daotom's going to give us our first glimpse into the southern Light World route. We're going to go to the dam first, get 2 items here, likely head east, get at least another 5 items. As Yoshi's going to come up. He forgot to activate his flute when he was at the bottle vendor, but he'll take the time to do so now.
Yeah, a little extra time having to come back up from the library area to activate his flute. Not the worst thing that you could do, just a little bit of extra time lost. And to answer Blue XY in chat, if you want to support the Speed Gaming by supporting, I'm sure they'd appreciate that, of course. I believe any of the channels works for them. They all go to the same place. If you want to support the main one, of course, this is the main #1 channel. So you can go ahead and subscribe here if that's what you're wanting to do. Again, they would appreciate, I'm sure they would love to have any of that if that is something you're thinking about doing.
So with low magic here in the mini Moldorm cave, bombs are going to be the best option. This can be kind of tricky to throw sometimes. We'll see what Daotom, what approach he takes. He's going to go with the Suicide Bomber approach for the first one. Still got plenty of hearts left. And those 2... Ooh,
what?
Well, unfortunately, that bomb does have a little bit of bounce to it. This is a 2.5D game. And if the bomb is bouncing... and it's in the air, it's technically not going to hit anything on that level. So it's going to hit on a layer above it.
I have never seen that before, as we do get our first sword and a bottle for Daotom with a B in it. But yeah, I thought that was a perfect placement. They were playing nice, just chilling in that corner. He just threw it a little bit too early, looks like.
So we get that dig spot now, and we get just a big 20. So nothing in that escape really going to pay off. And Daotom going to flute right to 8. Going to go check out the Ice Rod Cave.
And that is another nice thing about getting that early flute, is just that movement throughout the map so early is just so convenient, especially going to places like Ice Rod Cave. Ice Rod Cave. It's so far out of the way normally. Flute, it's not too bad.
So we're still looking for Dark World access. We're still very far from Dark World access. We don't have the hammer. We don't have any glove. We don't have a Moon Pearl. We don't have a Master Sword or a lamp to even consider an Agahnim play yet. So still feeling things out. We'll see where there are still options as far as where to go to. With that flute, they can go up to at least a little bit of Death Mountain, check out 2 items there, one of which would be Sequence Broken. And it looks like Daotom's going to check in with the Mushroom now.
Yeah, they are either not sure how to do the fake powder, or they're just banking on getting powder and not having to be an issue later. They want to get this check in real quick and probably get a magic fill on their bottle at the same time.
Looks like they are going to go for that magic fill that we were talking about. And it's not necessarily ignorance of the fake powder glitch or no desire to do it. It's more like you can choose. Sequence breaks just aren't something every runner is going to embrace. A lot of runners like to really keep track of them. It gives them more clarity as far as where items could be that they're looking for. So not wanting to sequence break is a very valid strategy here in Randomizer.
Oh, for sure. So there are a few things that could have been. It definitely could have been that as well. So Yoshi getting really close to low bombs on there, but is able to get those mold arms and will get his fighter sword here. And daotmb heads over to Desert, which at this point is, I mean, besides Eastern you have access to, it's really the only dungeon that's kind of saying, come to me. Right now they don't have a lot else to do. It's pretty, a lot of items, but kind of slow start.
Yeah, it's still, like I said, there's just nothing even pointing towards anything about Dark World access. So that book has the potential of leading to something in Desert, although without a fire source or a glove or boots, it's very likely not going to be cleared at this point, so that will be a double dip. And same with Eastern, without the bow or the lamp, you're not really looking at clearing Eastern anytime soon. So it's a gamble either way. And it looks like daotomb's going to save and quit out of Agahnim's cave, so he's not going to take Desert, or he's going to fly there later.
Yeah, probably like you said, he's probably waiting until he gets more of the items that will allow him to clear it. He looks like is going to head. Right.
He's going back to escape. It's something where it's probably bothering him at this point that he left those 3 items behind. So he cannot get into Agahnim, obviously, even if he was able to navigate those dark rooms.
Yeah, that is an interesting decision because the game does not actually logically have you getting bombs to be able to go to escape before coming back. It plans on you having to get the power gloves to go back there.
No, it does not.
It is not. I thought that
used to be the case.
Okay, okay. So
right now, those items are accessible to him without a sequence break at all.
Okay.
We got a question in chat. So in this run, they have to get all the items. They don't have to get all the items. They just have to get enough to clear all the 7 crystals, which are randomized throughout the 10 dungeons in the game, and then go beat Ganon. So there's going to be a couple of items that will always be required no matter what, such as the bow and the Titan's mitts. And then there are some items that will not necessarily be required, like Ether Medallion or Ice Rod, but may be required. And then there's some items that just are not required at all, but are sometimes nice to have, like the boomerangs.
Yes, indeed. And Yoshi is going to go inside a Desert Palace. Again, if there's a key on that torch, boots are going to be really. It's what we're going to find out real quick if boots are going to be required in this seed. Kind of going back to what you just said, sometimes there's a maybe, and that's one of them.
So Yoshi a little bit ahead now because daotomb took those couple of minutes to go through escape. He's got that shovel now. We'll see if he chases down that red herring.
Yeah, unfortunately, we know it leads to a whole lot of nothing, but it's a peace of mind. Kind of like we said, it was possibly eating at him clearly as he went racing after it. So that peace of mind, while not getting a good item, peace of mind is worth it.
And it is very early, so it's way too early to say someone is winning definitively right now. We're only 18 minutes in here.
Yeah.
Yoshi does pick up a big key though. He will be able to continue to do this. This big chest is going to be a small key for him. He'll get the right side.
Yeah, and we do
seeing that map on the torch is really going to increase his chances of getting some sort of progression item here in Desert Palace.
Yes, indeed. That seeing the map on the torch without boots, or the compass for that matter, feels really good. You know that at least, kind of with the way the seed's been going, you're going the right direction. daotomb is going after the Eastern Palace play, so we'll get to see what's in Sahasrah's hut, as well as the potential items in Eastern Palace before Armos.
And this is definitely the higher density of items to go towards, so this is the safe option after he just did the risky option of the long time-consuming trip back through escape. But after taking a gamble, you might want to go with a safe strat to try to make up the time. I think this is a very reasonable play here.
I agree. And Desert Palace, nothing in Desert Palace. So you got a bomb capacity upgrade, and there's a full heart piece in the first ones. We get flippers in the Sasha's hut.
So flippers are going to open up a bunch more items. It will open up Hobo. It will open up Zora, Zora's Ledge, and 2 waterfall items. So it looks like instead of going to Eastern, Daotom's going to go and take that route. Doesn't quite have 500 rupees yet, but is continuing, despite pulling out the flute, is going to continue here towards Eastern Palace, which will have at least 1 item without sequence breaks, 2 items with dark room navigation, and 3 items if he's lucky.
Yes, indeed. So we will see what is in the Eastern Palace, and we'll see if Yoshi decides to follow that path. I'm guessing he pulled out that flute and then realized that he's not even close to 500 rupees. So he's like, you know what, I'm going to go into Eastern. I'm here. We'll see what's up.
There is a rupee room in Eastern Palace. A lot of runners don't really know about it. Unfortunately, it is past the big key in the dark room. So it's not something you're going to be really great at navigating. There's not a lot of runners that even practice going into that room with 2 anti-fairies trying to collect those rupees. There's only whatever 5 times 9 times 2 is. That's 10. There's 90 rupees in there.
Yeah, and while a good amount of rupees will not get him any closer to, or will get him closer, but not at the 500 mark for Zora. Now, the nice thing about if you do decide to go for that is you don't need to kill the Igor to get the key. So it's a little bit easier navigating that initial part as we get the fire rod in Eastern Palace. So that's a nice find too. Both rods and both canes already.
The fire rod is interesting because it is a fire source. It's something where he might need that if he picks up a glove in order to go fight Lanmo in Desert Palace for an additional item. Were there 2 items found in Desert already? I think there were 2 items.
I believe so. Full heart piece and
5
bomb capacity, I believe.
Yeah, well, that's not a good idea then. So ignore.
You do get the crystal though.
You do get the crystal.
Is important.
Right, but at this point it's just the crystal, and you'll be able to come back later, possibly when checking out the Maya area. So there are those flippers for Yoshi now. Now he just spent an extra 50 rupees on an additional 10 bombs in one of the shops. So he's probably kicking himself a little bit now, being 50 rupees behind where he wants to be towards those 500 for Zora. But at 424, he'll have plenty of room to catch back up.
And if he decides to go in Eastern, which it looks like, and makes his way for that rupee room, he will get enough rupees to go to Zora. That will put him over that 500 limit. And of course, we could always get rupees inside of Eastern Palace that does that as well. But he has got a slight advantage in rupee count right now.
And Daotom gonna navigate those dark rooms. This is not the most exciting thing to watch, but it is something that demonstrates quite a bit of skill and practice for Daotom. So without the bow, he won't be able to go much further than just this chest here. But it is making this run through Eastern Palace a bunch more efficient for him. He won't have to come back necessarily quite as quickly.
Yeah, and we're gonna get one last guaranteed check, unless this is the most vanilla location for the bow. But again, logically, they're not supposed to be in here because they don't have the lantern. However, these runners both are, well, Daotom showed his comfortableness navigating that initial dark room as we get Blue Mail out of the big chest.
So Neon Link changes color a little bit, which is kind of cool to see. And we'll see the blue Pikachu coming up here soon.
I always enjoy with all these custom sprites. I believe we've got 100 different sprites you can play in this game. Always enjoy seeing the color variations as you get the different mail upgrades. It's really kind of fun to see how they change colors.
So Daotom going to head towards the Zora area. We'll see if he checks the Hobo first. Wouldn't be surprising. Always good to see what's on that Lake Hylia Island as well. And he's doing just that. There's a 3rd bottle there. Not coming back for that in all likelihood. As much as a welcome safety as it is a little out of the way to go back for.
Yeah, and they do already have 2, which Daotom has a green goo and a blue goo after dumping the bee and filling it up with magic, of course. And Yoshi gets a nice 8-bomb drop.
That should set him up nicely. He won't have to buy bombs likely for the rest of the game now.
Yeah. Oh, hook shot off of the Hobo. That, with the flute, now opens up Eastern Death Mountain.
And Eastern Death Mountain's worth a ton of items. There's 8 off the top right in the Paradox Cave and Spiral Cave. And so it looks like he's going to head right there instead of going to Zora without those 500 rupees. Rescuing the old man first. This is always my favorite sequence break to make in the game because it's something that you really want to do anyway because you want that ability to start your game after you save and quit at Death Mountain a lot of the time. It's the fastest way to get out somewhere where you can flute and travel to your next location. And it's something that's going to take the same amount of time if you do it just as a one-off, or if you do it as part of a Death Mountain pass. So it's something you can sequence break up to basically whenever, and it just makes everything later on much more efficient.
Yeah, and the key point there, if you have that flute, being able to just get out, it's the fastest save and quit to be able to use that flute and get out. And you can talk to the old man and get the full heart refills. So I agree with that 100%. It is a smart decision to sequence break or not, get that old man rescued so that you can get that save and quit location.
And Neon Link taking a little bit of damage from the cabbages that are falling down on him. He's still got a heart and a half, though, so that's plenty to make it back up through here. Gonna have to watch out for dead rocks once he gets to the east side, but we'll check out what's in here. We got a hammer on top of Spectacle Rock. So that's going to be the mirror. The mirror is definitely going to be required because the hammer is one of those items that is always required.
Yeah, and at this point, we will not be able to get to Tower Hera until we get that mirror, because the only other way would have been with the hammer. And since we need the mirror to get the hammer, you will not get to see Tower Hera until we get the mirror.
Lots of different ways to get to lots of different item locations in this game. It's almost like it was built for Randomizer. We're very lucky or something here, because what madness is this that this game works like this?
Yeah, you know, go ahead, sorry.
So Daotmb with just half a heart here could have hookshotted across there and gotten a little bit of fairy refill. Instead, just leaves. A lot of runners don't know about caves that don't have items. Daotmb a little lost here, it looks like. Yeah, just gonna exit here. That's okay. So it's not a bad idea to take some time during your runs, not in a tournament, obviously, where you just kind of explore a little bit. He's gonna be able to pick up 2 hearts though to refill himself in these first 2 chests of Paradox Cave. There's 2 hearts under pots.
He has no bombs.
Ooh, that is brutal. So he's gonna have to go upstairs and hope those mini Moldorms play nice. We'll see.
He does have
his sword. And the hookshot's not going to save him. So he's going to take a death here. That's going to restart him at the old man. That'll give him a chance to fill his health and come on back. But that is going to be a little bit of a time loss. Meanwhile, Yoshi going to go with his 426 rupees towards Zora. It's tough when you've already committed to checking a location in your mind to break away from that after getting a key progressive item like the hookshot and say, okay, I'm going to go do this instead now that I have this new information. There's so much to keep track of in here that it's difficult to kind of change your mind midstream.
Yeah, it's and sometimes it's important to stick with your original thought process, your original mindset, because if you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then you get something that changes your mind, you might forget that you never finished that, and that could be something that could potentially do a lot of damage. I did not quite see what was on Zora's ledge.
It was a big 20. So we're all set. Nothing of interest here. Nothing to see. Instead, just a quick check. Gonna flute away. Zora will be very inconvenient later in the game. Maybe you can pair it with Clickfish a little bit later. But I would not expect Yoshi to come back to Zora except as a last resort.
I would have to agree with you on that. And so Daotmb went and bought some bombs, putting him even further in deficit of that 500. But he needs those bombs to clear the East Death Mountain, so definitely a worthwhile purchase.
And with so many chests here, he's bound to pick up some more money to make up for it.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of money to be had in the game.
And we get that lamp. So we're out of the sequence breaks that we had, as the lamp was the only thing that we had sequence broken previously.
Yes, indeed. All right, now Daotm's going to head back into this room, likely going to get some revenge on these mini Moldorms now that he's got full hearts.
Yeah, they're not too much of a problem. They might do 1 or 2 hearts of damage, but when you're sitting at full, they are not an issue.
No, and getting the Master Sword definitely makes it even easier as we get the cape as well. And like you said, 50 more rupees, that replenishes with that 20 rupees. He's back over where he was before, so.
With no glove and no way to get the hammer yet, I'm getting real nervous about doing Agahnim at this point.
Ooh, Master Sword and Lamp, and even cape. That's like the 3 things you need. Any combination of 2 of those. I guess not any combination. You need the lamp and then either the cape or the Master Sword. That's kind of filling Agahnim.
Yeah, so and the pyramid item is now within logic. So Daotome not checking Sky Island, so misses out on an opportunity to get a little bit of information. We'll see if Yoshi can pick up and on what is there for later on. Meanwhile, Daotome going to make the long, slow walk without boots around Spiral Cave. Spiral Cave, one of the interesting places in Hyrule. You can use it to see how terrible the Link to the Past community is at coming up with names for things. So Spiral Cave, it's a cave with a spiral. Not very creative. Oh, we do have a bow in it today. So a bow's going to let Eastern Palace be completable. And Armos, I believe, does have an item. So that is another one-off location.
I think you'll see our Daotome head straight there and get that cleared. Probably not wanting to do Agahnim, wanting to avoid that if at all possible.
Well, he's still got... I mean, this is still just like a one-off location check. I'm not sure I like this as much as going to Zora and taking a little bit of time to farm for those rupees, maybe. At 388, I know you're pretty far from farming it. And I guess that makes Eastern a little bit more appealing because you can get those extra free 90 rupees in the rupee room with the lamp at this point.
Yeah,
it's tough to commit to these one-off item locations, especially when you've already done some like Agahnim, where it's a waste of time if it ends up being nothing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, the one thing, it is a crystal, so that might help lend to making this decision and knowing you're getting your crystal out of the way. It's not just one item, but yeah, it's you got 4 potential items through Sora. Instead, he's going this route. And it's hard to say that it's a bad decision. You're going for a crystal, which is progression. You need to get those crystals.
So we got a question in chat: is Aga required? And the answer is we don't know yet. We're gonna find out. It might be, and it might not be. We've got and there's also talk in chat about Eastern being double dipped at this point. So yes, Eastern is being double dipped. It didn't need to be necessarily. The only thing of note that we found in here was the fire rod. But it's looking like this is going to be the second trip for Daotome to this area, and presumably there will be a third trip via Palace of Darkness. So we got 3 dips early for Daotome, almost certainly. And Daotome is not going to head into that rupee room, so he's going right left.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, the Eastern Palace, by the logic, was not required to double dip, but both runners being comfortable with doing that initial dark room, and even though they didn't have the bow, decided to take that decision to go in there. I think you'll see most runners make that decision when you're in the area. You can possibly get all 3 items, and then you know, hey, I just got to come back and kill Armos Knights later, and hopefully combo that with Pod, but the Seed does not want them to have that convenience.
So Yoshi, now with a convenient 504 rupees in his possession, does have the option to go to Zora instead of doing Armos here, but is going to go do Armos instead. So he's going to take an early double dip into Eastern Palace as well.
Yeah, and now I think in Yoshi's play, I think it makes a little bit more sense for him since he has 2 options of one-offs, Zora or Armos Knights. I think I'd go Armos Knights in that situation 10 times out of 10.
And Daotome having a very nice Armos fight. You notice at the end, both of the final 2 Armos Knights that he killed, he left at 1 remaining shot, so he was able to go boom, boom, kill them both. That's nice because if you kill the last one before it has a chance to turn that red color, it's going to result in its health not resetting, and you'll be able to kill it instantly. Whereas if you wait even a second, it'll refill itself, and then the fight's going to take a bit longer and can get out of control pretty quickly.
Yeah, very good setup by Daotome there. He will be heading into Desert, his first check of there. Earlier, he went and checked Agahni's cave and did not actually go into Desert Palace. Again, we know, unfortunately, will not lead to anything important, and still no Power Glove cannot finish off the dungeon.
And with those 20 rupees on the Desert Ledge, we'll see if he ends up going to pick those up at the end here. He won't need to go out the southeast exit in order to visit Agahnim because, like you said, he has already visited there. So we'll see if he... Yeah, see, he's going for money now. He just went for those 20 rupees a little bit out of his way. He knows he wants to go to Zora, but he knows that this is a place he should check first. So skip it out on the first chest in favor of just checking that lamp. He'll be very happy to see that map. as Yoshi goes through the big key door in Eastern Palace, ready to fight his way through this dark room. And Yoshi going to go through the money room that I talked up so much. So picking up his free 90 rupees. It's not strictly necessary for him right now, but with 110 rupees coming up to pay Kiki at some point in the near future, which is technically accessible with the current items after defeating Agahnim, as well as some money for dig game and chess game and maybe some other minor conveniences as far as potions throughout the game, then those 90 rupees are a very good pickup at this stage.
Yeah, with how poor the seed has been overall, I think it's a smart decision on Yoshi's play to go get those rupees, because there are a few places where we're still going to need rupees. We got the like you said, the dig game, the chess game, and so I think it's a smart play to give yourself a little assurance. And he's definitely planning on spending money at Zora, with him also farming for rupees, picking up that 5 rupee drop as well.
daotmb making his way to the east side of Desert. We're going to get a little bit of disappointment on his side because he will not have any progressive items out of this place. We'll see where he goes next. Meanwhile, Yoshi doing that Armos fight, and he has not set it up quite properly, so he's going to get that health reset on that final Armos night, but will get his big 20, still take down the Knights to get his first crystal. So at 36:04, both of our runners tied with 1 crystal each, and really only Zora left as potential progressive item location, as well as the pyramid item.
Yeah, and now does Yoshi make the decision to go to Zora and pay the 500, or does he, see the writing on the wall and just go for Agahnim? Looks like
he's going right to Zora, because that Agahnim is a long journey up that tower.
It is a long journey, and if it ends up not being required, that is a big waste of time. And by doing this, he will know for sure if Agahnim is required or not. And one possible item that will prevent that, this is it right here. We'll see.
We'll take this time as Yoshi is coming along up here and daotm's getting back to where he needs to be, to remind you to follow these runners. Both of these runners are very well practiced at this game. This tournament is not a joke, and you've already seen them display their skill with stuff like that darkroom navigation and their knowledge of the game, as far as, even Yoshi going through that rupee room. So definitely give these guys a follow, and we'll get those links in chat for you right there. And we got a Moon Pearl on Zora, so that means Agahnim is 100% required for this seed.
Yep. That is the nail in the coffin for those trying to avoid Agahnim, which I think both runners wanted to avoid at all costs. But Speed's like, nope, we're going Aga.
A couple of people in chat speculated Mirror. Mirror definitely would have moved us along a bit. It would have given us access to Tower of Hera and the Hammer, which absolutely could have led to Aga not being required. But unfortunately, we're going to get to see both of our runners climb the big tower. If anybody has guesses for blue balls on Agahnim, save them up. We'll ask for those later on. The prize is Bradley has actually agreed to do your voicemail greeting for you. So if you get the number of blue balls correctly, Bradley will record a custom voice message.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that's the most exciting prize you could ever want. So we're going to get some good guesses then, I'm sure.
So daotmb heading back up to Eastern Death Mountain. Is there something he missed here that I'm not quite remembering? I don't believe there's anything else for him to do here.
Yeah, with him having that slight technical difficulty there, it's kind of hard to say what he's doing. Is he just... Oh, did he not check the first
It looks
cave?
like he had a hard crash, because he definitely checked these items.
Oh, no, that is...
So he's likely lost a bunch of state, because he previously had the lamp. Our tracker is on top of things here, so he likely had a hard crash, and that is an unfortunate thing to happen during a race.
Oh, man, you do not want to see that. That is a lot of time lost, too, then.
That's brutal.
Yeah, he's way back.
Swinging the fighter sword. Thankfully, he does have knowledge about a bunch of item locations still. The emulator crash does not crash your brain, which I guess
luckily
is a good thing.
It might push you a little tilty, but it does not.
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
brain.
And you can see that tilt kind of kicking in right now because he skipped over the bow. He needs to go back and get that bow. But he can save that for later, as he knows there's nothing on Armos Knights, because he did manage to fight for those Armos Knights. So he knows that Zora is the place he has to go. So he needs to farm for some rupees right now and then go right to Zora. And we'll see how he does that. No, he's going to go. He realizes he's got nothing to do except for farm for rupees, and the best way to do that is just to go through Eastern Palace anyway. So we'll see him head back to the east side of the mountain. This can be quite tilting. It's tough in these high pressure 1v1 tournament race situations to keep it together, and I give him a lot of credit for sticking with this, still going through with it, not getting off, just buckling down and saying, this is what I need to do. I need to go back. I need to do these things. And he's going to go pick up his bow. He's going to refight Armos. He's going to get the money for Zora, and we'll make a race out of this yet.
Yes, indeed, he will. Luckily, it's not at a point that's a make or break. It does put him behind, but based off, there are things that can happen that can help get him back in this race. It does. He is at a disadvantage, unfortunately, but he's not out of it, like you said.
So Yoshi gonna go fight Agahnim now. How many blue balls are you feeling?
Let's see. I'm gonna go with 2 each in between each lightning phase.
So a total of 4. I think that sounds good. Number 4, Bobby Orr. Can't go wrong.
Yes, indeed. How about you? What are you feeling today?
I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna go right down the middle of the average. We got a bunch of 4s in chat. We got 7 blues from Admiral. Admiral, that's mean. 27. It's a little high. Generally speaking, there can only be 15 maximum, barring some very, very unfortunate gameplay. So rip the 15 dream.
Yes, indeed. Those high numbers would be pretty bad. Pretty hard to get to.
So daotmb heading up towards the Zora area again. There were some rupees in one of these chests, I believe, as well as a big 20 on the ledge. I don't believe it'll be enough to get back up to... No, just 2 heart pieces. Shows what I know. So I don't believe there will be enough to get to that 500 here, and he is going to have to get to 500 here.
Yeah, he's probably just hoping that maybe this is a 300 rupee drop. As Yoshi finishes up Agahnim, I did not see a single blue ball, I believe, and we get the mirror on the pyramid ledge. That is a nice find to get right there.
So with our only Dark World access being via Agahnim, we get a quick map check here. So that pod and swamp are both regular pendants, with Skull Woods being that green pendant. Skull Woods already clearable. We're going to see where Yoshi's going to go. It looks like Yoshi is going to mirror out. I imagine Tower of Hera is the play here. It's a crystal dungeon. It's full clearable. It's going to give 2 items, plus Ether Tablet, plus Hammer.
Yeah, and he knows that because Hammer's up there, he has no reason to go into pod until he gets that. So having that knowledge of that Hammer makes that decision to not go into pod really easy to do. You're like, well, I know exactly where I need to go for that Hammer.
And Thieves Town is a crystal, so this hammer will allow a full clear of Thieves Town, which is another easy crystal dungeon to do. So picking up 2 crystal dungeons that you're going to have to do anyway, that you can full clear, always a good decision. And we see daotmb now going for the Agahnim play. So he's not 100% sure this is required yet, as he still has the possibility of... he doesn't know that the Moon Pearl is at Zora, but he's still going to make an effort to pick up rupees that he finds along the way here. He picked up that big 20. So 411, getting closer. As Yoshi holds that hammer above his head, Pikachu very excited to get a hammer.
Yeah, that is again, we knew it was there. Always nice to get the early hammer. If you're looking at his tracker, he's starting to get pretty loaded there.
Still no glove. Gloves are tricky, but it's gonna be we're getting closer to go mode despite our limited mobility. So this is looking to be a pretty fast seed for our runners.
Yeah, at this point, barring medallions, which Turtle Rock is a pendant, we may not need medallions. I did not get a chance to see what Meyer was. We could just be gloves and then mitts away from go mode.
Total Rock is not a pendant. Total Rock is a crystal.
It was a crystal. Okay.
Yes. Our pendants were Swamp Palace, Skull Woods, which was green, and Palace of Darkness.
Okay. I missed the Palace of Darkness one. I thought it was that was backed up in my head.
And daotmb leaving a big 20 behind. He did get one off of one of those guards there. Missed it. That's not something he wants to be leaving behind at this point. But he doesn't know that yet, I guess, as Yoshi goes to the basement here to fight with these tiles. Gets the little glitch here. Now, we'll take a second to explain this glitch as daotmb is doing the final climb up Agahnim's tower. If you manage to hit that switch and you are on the blocks when they come up, you'll receive invulnerability frames, and those won't go away until such time as you step off of them. Now, there is a little corner case where you can get stuck and you won't be able to move out of here, but the way Yoshi's set it up, he's just going to be able to walk right out after that last tile is gone and onwards to the chest.
Very well set up by Yoshi there to get that, and nice thing about this, use that fire rod, gets the full refill there, and will get his big key.
So daotmb, because both of our runners are playing the same seed, daotmb will have the exact same luck with these blue balls, so he will also receive his 0. And Yoshi takes out 2 and unfortunately takes a spill down the hole. Not too bad of a time loss, especially as those little jellies will stay dead. What are they called? Bumpers? Beetles. Beetles.
Beetles, that's it. I always call them jellies, but they are definitely
the other
beetles.
Things are jellies. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm good at this game.
Man, that's the one thing I struggle. There's so many different things, and I never learned the real names when I was playing as a kid, and so I just kind of came up with the name. And everybody does that. They come up with their own name for it, and it's hard to get that out of my head.
So down goes Aga on the left side, and we got Yoshi going up one more level until Moldorm now. We get that neon bunny look. Going to find his mirror. That's certainly going to send him, unfortunately, on a little bit of a chase here. He's going to now have access to Tower of Hera and such, but still no Moon Pearl. Going to have to go over to Zora at some point in the near future here.
And Yoshi gets the Power Gloves, our first glove out of the big chest in Tower of Hera. I had a feeling it was coming up soon. I'm kind of feeling we're going to get Titan Vince really quick right after. And it's so late Power Gloves, I feel like you're going to get Titan's Mitts, almost bang bang.
With so much open, it's tough to say, but Titan's Mitts are certainly one of the few items we need for Go Mode at this point. It could be the only item.
Very well could be. We do not know.
It could be. We could literally be one item away from Go Mode right now.
Yeah.
At 47-27.
Which is pretty wild. Alright, so Yoshi deciding to go with the hammer strats on Moldorm, takes care of the boss very well, and gets his second crystal and 50 more rupees.
Yeah, with the Master Sword in his possession, it's only a level 2 sword, whereas the hammer does the same amount of damage as a level 3 sword. So he can do the spins with the level 2 sword to get that level 3 damage, but it's a little bit slower. Hammer's a little bit faster, but doesn't quite have the range. So a bunch of trade-offs. Most runners I've seen will go for the hammer, generally speaking.
Yeah, and you do have the limited, you don't have the risk of getting that very fast last phase if you happen to get slashes in. And I have actually been corrected on, this is the negative Link, not Neon Link. Neon Link is just outline of Link in the neon color, so I have been corrected on that, my bad.
Lots of Link options.
Yes, indeed.
So Yoshi being smart with his routing here, going to go do Spike Cave last, down to 2 hearts, pulls out that blue cane, plenty of magic to make the trip here, and does have the glove to lift the block. It's very sad when runners get to the end, and we get an ether. So that's now we have a 2/3 chance of being in Go Mode here, once we get the mitts. Although the boots could still be required somewhere.
And the one place it could be required at this point would be in Ganon's tower on the torch if the big key is there. I believe that is the last place boots will be required because we've seen everything else besides the boot locations.
So now with those gloves and those hammers, we get a little bit more options as far as Dark World entrances. Going to go north of Kakariko. We'll see if, with only, potentially one item away from go mode, if Yoshi decides to dive any more pendant dungeons. Generally speaking, a lot of people like to at least dip into Skull Woods, being a pendant. Maybe you'll go directly for Thieves Town. Skull, of course, having 2 items, while... Ooh, he's going for the pedestal. While Thieves Town has 4. And we're going to get a pedestal check here. Now, this is something with the mirror he could have done after Skull Woods. He's choosing just to go directly here. There could be... What could be here? So Swamp doesn't require gloves. Skull doesn't require a glove. Maya requires a glove. So, not really... It could be boots on pedestal, I guess. But that's about it. And we just see Couch Cash. So nothing here. Those gloves will be required for Meyer. So it's not like we could get a pedestal required seat out of nowhere here.
Yeah, that is a very interesting decision, and we also do have the green pendant out of school, so that is a possible third, well, a guaranteed third item, but a possible third location for where these mitts could be, and or the final medallion or boots.
So into the Dark World, Daotom's gonna get his gloves here pretty shortly. With doing a bomb jump here. Now he does have the ability to hook shot over to this chest. He's going to do the bomb jump instead because you see those little stars on the ground. When you hit those, the floor changes just like you see there. If he uses the hook shot, he'll actually hit those on the way by and then not be able to walk back. So the bomb jump lifts him up a little bit over those stars so he's able to walk back and continue on. Definitely the accepted strategy for getting that chest as fast as possible.
You don't have the boots to be able to knock yourself back across. That is definitely the best way, the quickest way to go about it, because you don't have to worry about going up and falling down or falling down afterwards. So very well done by Daotom there. And Yoshi had gone the other way, so he's making up a little bit of that time that he lost from the crash. Little things like that can make big dividends for Daotom going forward.
So Yoshi going right into Thieves Town, skipping over Skull Woods entirely. I like this play. I like the knowledge of we got 1 item left, maybe 2, maybe 3, but probably just 1 at this point. Let's go as fast as we can through these crystal dungeons and hope that the crystal dungeon has it. We do have the ability to full clear desert at this point, which is a crystal. We can full clear Thieves Town at this point, which is a crystal. Can't do ice or mire yet.
Can do Palace of Darkness though, so almost all of your crystals, but ice and turtle rock, are full clearable with their current equipment. They need that.
Pod's still dependent.
Pod is dependent. Okay.
Yeah.
I got those messed up in my head.
That's all right.
Turtle rock.
That's right. I mean, like, even for us, we're sitting here with no pressure on us, and still, like, it's tough to keep track of everything going on. And so it's brutal for these runners who are under this pressure and have to execute on top of all that. So again, a lot of credit to these guys. So gonna take this heart now under the pot for Yoshi. Give him a little bit more health now. A lot of runners like to save that for when they're going in blind. That certainly won't respawn, barring a death or a mirror or something like that. So taking it now, taking it later, ends up being about the same.
Yes, indeed. It all depends on how well you can navigate through certain areas, and this is definitely one of the more dangerous rooms inside of Thieves Town with the conveyor belts. So many little things that can just bounce at you and hit you, though Yoshi does a really good job only taking 1 heart of damage.
So Daotom must have had his crash before he checked out these items. Going to be pretty disappointed once he finds out that they are, in fact, useless.
It was hard to tell. I thought he had made it to this chest and got this item, but apparently he either forgot or did not make it as far as we thought he did. He will go get that red crystal, or that 20 rupee drop, it looks like, which will get him really close to that Zora money.
He's fighting Landmo. He can fight Landmo now.
Oh, that's true. He did get the gloves. That is true.
Yeah, so to address chat, the crystals are correct now in chat, in the trackers. The crystals are correct, as well as the pendants. We got Pod, Swamp Palace, and Skull Woods are our pendants. So shout outs to our tracker. A lot going on. As Yoshi going to make his way down to the basement, pick up the maiden.
And again, with only needing for sure one item left for go mode, possibly 2 or 3, not expecting to see a whole lot of value out of any of these dungeons, to be honest. Like, we only need one for sure item, and so there's a lot of. You didn't see a lot of. I think there's where we see a lot of rupees starting to show up and different things like that. Capacity upgrades, the drops that we weren't getting earlier.
And those Titans bits, they can be quite the. They're quite useful in opening up areas of the map. So there's a lot of locations that are simply inaccessible, including all of Dark Death Mountain, including all of Mire, Turtle Rock, Ice Palace. So there's not too many locations that they could be in. So I think this is going to end up being a really fast seed. And you see those. This is not Neon Link. What kind of link did we call this?
Negative Link is what.
Negative Link.
Negative
Link having a little bit of an effect on the land modes when they flash here. That looks really cool. I should play with Negative Link. And
yeah,
for bow strats. So daotmb has actually done a little bit of NMG routing of the vanilla game, and that's going to really pay off for him here because with the vanilla game in the vanilla speedrun, this is one of the more difficult boss fights because you have such few resources, and so they end up using the bow to fight Landmo, and it's not something that you can do really without practice. So that practice for daotmb really paying off as we get a bit of sync here on our runners holding up some crystals.
Yeah, just different dungeons, but same timing on holding up those crystals, and looks like daotmb is going to. Oh, where is he going? Not going to escape. Why is he not pulling out that flute?
So there is the best spot in the game to farm rupees at this point for him is right here. There's 50 rupees in this rock underneath here in these pots that do respawn every time you come in and out. So short of going to the Houlihan room, this is the best spot to farm rupees. So again, knowledge of this game, knowledge of where the little things are, really, really helpful. So he's going to pick up his 50 rupees here, push him over 500, and then he's going to go over to Sora.
Yes, in the end, he will get his Moon Pearl, and that will give him the continued progression in this seed as Yoshi gets the silver arrows out of the Bombable Hut. So we will not be seeing the silverless Ganon fight on Yoshi's side.
So a question in chat, is daotmb done Eastern Palace yet? The answer is sort of. He went through Eastern Palace, but unfortunately had a crash. So he's aware that the last item in Eastern Palace is a big 20. So he hasn't exactly rushed back there yet. He knows he might have to revisit that area anyway to during a Palace of Darkness dip.
Yeah, so with that knowledge because of his crash, that's one thing where, it's not really saving him any time because he's already done it and he had the crash, but he doesn't need to go there. He knows it's not going to do anything for him until he needs the crystal. So I like the decision on his part with that knowledge, as unfortunate as it may be, to not go in there. And Yoshi is going into School Woods. Probably, we'll see, he might do the full thing. He has the access to do the whole thing.
And he managed to pick up silvers in Village of Outcasts in the Bombable Hut. So hopefully daotmb will have the ability to pick those up before going back to Eastern, make that Armos fight a little bit easier. But the seed is still wide open. So despite the crash and despite being a little bit behind, daotmb could very easily find those Titans bits first with just a gamble. He could go immediately to, say, Swamp Palace right now and check that out while Yoshi's diving Skull. And if Skull has nothing and Swamp has, 2 sword upgrades as well as Titans, Mitts, and Quake, like we're business.
Yeah, that is definitely things like that or what daotmb needs to happen to be able to get that crash made up for. Again, you don't ever want to see something like that happening for our runners, but that's what happens. You have these technical issues that happen. You just got to go with them and hope for the best from there on.
Yoshi going to take the rarely used hookshot route around here to get this big chest open. Don't see that very often. Mostly see players bomb jump across that gap or fall down the 3x3 hole that he's walking by right now. So, ooh, I like the little Pokeball on the map. That's adorable. I hadn't noticed that before.
Yeah, I noticed that once before and just kind of neglected to mention it. But yeah, it's an adorable little thing showing where the home is. Not too many sprites get the additional little nod to home there.
And even though boots might not be required, we have them. So gotta go fast. Boots 59 minutes in, pretty good at this point. And it looks like Yoshi, after finding the 2 items in Skull Woods, is just gonna leave. Doesn't want that green pendant. Gonna take too long. Lots of other areas he could check instead. We'll see if he decides to go overworld or more dungeon diving.
Yeah, and really at this point where the way Skull Woods is separated, I like that decision. He already checked pendant. He knows he does not need the pendant for pedestal. Excuse me, he checked the pedestal, and so this decision is, I agree with it. He got what he needed, and he's able to check these new route locations now, and as well as that graveyard ledge. So really smart decision by Yoshi in my mind.
He's going to use this opportunity to reroute himself over here. Check these 2 boots locked locations, as well as the spooky ledge behind the graveyard.
Yes, indeed. So, now, even though, again, like you said, boots are not required, that does eliminate that possibility in Ganon's tower. And, we may find that the times which we're locked behind boots, it's always something you can't really say, oh, well, that's going to give us go mode. We need the boots for go mode. Because of that, it's one of those, you don't know until it happens type of things.
So Daotome, unfortunately, going to take the same route. It will get him his boots, though, which will end up working out nicely for him, assuming he goes up to Skull 2 area. And he is going to do the more traditional bomb jump across the gap here. Again, his NMG practice coming into play. That's a very important part of NMG. That red jelly getting a little bit in the way as Yoshi picks up 10 arrows in the King's Tomb.
All right, so boots were not at this point required for the seed again, that Ganon's torch, but we got them. We don't need to worry about that anymore. So without having them be required for anything else, it's nice knowing that you're not going to get to Ganon's tower, see the big key on that torch, and be like, where's my boots?
So you're actually going to stick with overworld stuff here. Going to go east to Quakefish now. After this, he has the ability to just save and quit. There's not really anywhere good to get to from Quakefish at this point. Pyramid is an option for people generally, but he's already gotten that. Obviously, that was the mirror. And he's already gotten all the Zora items, so mirroring to get those is not something he's interested in at this time. Daotome, however, going to go back and beat Skullwood. So if the Green Pendant has something, this could be his chance to pull ahead. I don't really think either of our runners are ahead at this point. I guess Yoshi has Ether, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'd only give Yoshi the advantage because of the crash. It's really, if that had not happened, these runners would be neck and neck. It'd be hard to say what kind of decisions Daotome, maybe his decision making has changed because of that. And that's one thing you got to keep in mind on. Like when something like that happens, you have to start kind of thinking like, okay, now how do I make up this time? Like that's something that you start thinking about and adds more pressure than already is in this game.
So Daotome taking a fall. Tempered Sword is usually what he comes in here with to fight Mothula, but gonna do just with the Master Sword today. So I believe it's 8 hits. And a Fire Rod counts as a Master Sword hit. No, it might be more than that.
I believe it is Tempered Sword for the Fire Rod. But he does not have too many shots with that, so he was trying to save it for the moments. But no problem. Master Sword takes care of business, gets the compass and the green pendant off of the boss. And looks like Yoshi Turnout Hype Cave was not too hyped today.
I don't believe Dao has picked up his boots yet, so we'll see if he picks those up on the way back.
Yeah, I did not see him go into that room. But yeah, nope, he did not, because otherwise he would not be going in for this chest right here. So an interesting decision on Dao's part there to skip the one chest on the way to Mothula.
That Gibdo room can be quite annoying. He does have the red cane to make it quite a bit easier, though, as well as the mirror to get back over quickly. So, surprising choice, but I'm pretty confident he's going to pick it up here unless he straight up forgot.
Yeah, he clearly knows he's missing one item.
No,
so
he forgot. He's checking the pedestal. Oh, only Yoshi checked the pedestal.
Yeah. And Daoto clearly knows that he has one item left in School Woods, otherwise he would not have checked that other chest that he just did. So I definitely think we'll see him get those boots. And while at this point may not be a bad thing for item, you get around everything quicker with those boots.
And Yoshi going to go right into Palace of Darkness here. So another crystal dungeon that could contain the gloves of our dreams.
And I got you calling it a crystal. Man, I'm messing everybody up. But definitely could see the Timesmiths in here.
And Daotone does indeed pick up his boots. All right, thank goodness. We're going fast.
God, boots are, when not required, are a very nice quality of life item to have.
So with the bow, not going to get an opportunity to see the newly discovered potion glitch. Mostly I mentioned it because I'm impressed that this game, which was released like in 1992 in North America.
91. Oh yeah, 92 in North America. I believe you're right. 91 for the Japanese release.
Or yesterday, actually. Yesterday, because it's after midnight now. Today, if you're on the West Coast, it was released in 1992. So a little bit of history for everybody. Everybody loves history.
Quite a long time ago, and this game has, for all the weird things that can happen in this game, it's incredibly well designed. And kind of like what you're saying earlier, like all these things that they have in it, they give you so many different options, and there's not just one way to do things. Even though they clearly did not plan on it being designed for Randomizer, I would be surprised if that's something that, like, you know what, 26 years, we're gonna see people go into our game and just change all the coding and really mess things up, but it's gonna be awesome.
And Yoshi taking an unfortunate fall there after hitting the crystal switch. Gonna have to reset it so he can continue on his way. Just gonna aggressively hook shot at these bumper guys now.
Yeah, does not want to have to fall again. It's just, those things can be so annoying sometimes.
So Daotone pretty much following in Yoshi's footsteps here. Not going to pick up any time that way, but obviously he doesn't know that.
Yes, indeed. All right, so Yoshi heading to the back half of Palace of Darkness, which tends to have most of the items. Front of Palace of Darkness is usually pretty loaded with keys. The way that the map or the dungeon is designed, a lot of keys up front, and then you get your items in the back.
Nothing good so far, though. Even a sword upgrade would be welcome here. Taking a little bit of a wrong turn in the maze, as Daotone going to head into the Village of Outcasts will undoubtedly defeat Blind and pick up his silver arrows along the way here.
Yeah, and where they are still on Master Sword, it's very nice to get those silvers. At that final, just dealing with Master Sword in general, going through Ganon can be quite the strenuous activity. And if you can get silvers to make that final phase easier, at least makes you feel a little bit more confident going into that fight.
And Yoshi now heading back through the maze here. Still has a couple of chests on the right side of this bridge area to check. 4 chests in total. So we'll see if he's got any items left to find in this dungeon after he collects these 4 chests, if he chooses to fight the Helmosaur King or not. Both of our runners at this point do have the knowledge that pedestal is not required, and as this is not the green pendant, there's not a ton of reason for there's actually no reason for them to fight the Helmosaur King if the Helmosaur King does not have an item.
And that is definitely something Yoshi would be hoping for, and I imagine why he decided to go the way he did through the dungeon. This is the final chest before Helmosaur. We will see if Helmosaur is indeed required for an item.
I would need to just pause menu to figure it out. I've been counting. You gotta watch both runners in this business. It's very difficult.
Yes, indeed. And I would imagine that based off of not getting out of the dungeon right now, he's been counting his items. That would mean that indeed we do have, unless he missed some. Did he miss some in the front?
He still got the vanilla big key chest to check, but it just has a small key. He doesn't have to go check this because he's gonna spend a key, and you still need a key to get to Helma. So this is gonna be a small key.
He's probably just hoping that he doesn't have to go to Helma's store and not thinking about the simple little things like that can make,
there's a lot in this game to think about, man. There's a lot in this game. Oh, we might have this chest too to check. You might not have to check this one. Yeah, he hasn't checked this one. All right, so that's still a key. He's got an extra key.
And he does have.
What else hasn't he checked? He hasn't opened the main gate, so he hasn't opened the main.
Okay. And so Helmasaur does have an item. We did get to see his menu there. Has all the dungeon items. So Helmasaur, unfortunately, has the final item in Palace of Darkness.
Daotm racing down after bombing the floor in Thief's Town. Gonna go get the maiden now. Yoshi picks up a little bit of heart refill. This is one of the few areas in the game where you want those sword beams, but unfortunately Yoshi 4.5 hearts away from those, so gonna have to do with some extra menuing instead. Does have those silvers to take care of these mimics, and with a little bit of lag, a little bit of sparkle, he's through.
Yes, very glorious kills on those mimics with that sparkly silver arrow. So yet again, we get to see the effect of having the different sprites have on our different characters in the game, as the maiden is also a negative version of herself. And it's so cool how the way that works, incidentally, because of the lack of pillars in the game. They only have so many out there, so they share palettes with a lot of the characters.
But Maiden gonna revert to a little bit of a different palette here now, as Blind makes a broken pencils are pointless pun. And Yoshi gonna take care of the little, what's it called, terrapins? He's gonna take care of the little turtles. And go on and fight the big Helmasaur King.
Alright, now we're going to get to see if Palace of Darkness was worth it. Nothing else in here. So this is the last thing that could potentially make this a play. And these are the things that we were talking about. Like, if this is nothing, and Daotm decides not to come into Palace of Darkness, maybe goes to Swamp instead, that could be a huge make up that time lost again. That's the things that Daotm needs to have happen.
Unfortunately, having picked up the green pendant himself, I am inclined to believe he is headed for this area in the near future here. It makes sense as far as getting the crystal that he's missing in Eastern Palace and turning in that pendant all at once. So as he gets harassed there a little bit by the thief, and Yoshi just picks up a full heart, and along with his blue pendant.
Yes, indeed, and I will have to agree with you on that. Smart routing on his part to be able to combo all that together. Unfortunately, we know Palace of Darkness does not yield anything of value. The only thing is, let's say Green Pendant has those time limits. He checks that. He will likely check that on his way into Palace of Darkness, as you can mirror into Sahasha's hut on your way. And if that is time limits, that would save him. Well, that would put him way. I would give him the lead because he'd be in go mode.
So we get a little bit more information here as far as with the digging game. I don't believe Yoshi has checked this yet, as Yoshi's going to head over to the swamp area. I would guess he is going into swamp itself. It is a dungeon. While it's a pendant, it is full clearable and does have 6 items. So swamp, big chances to have something good here. Just a single rupee at the digging game. Daotom's going to head out of there before the guy shoos him away.
And it looks like we're going to get the rest of the south check by Daotm. I don't think we saw Yoshi come over this way do the mirror check or Stumpy either.
Gonna check out the infamous Cave 45 south of the Grove, which will just have an arrow upgrade.
Meanwhile, Yoshi's going to take care of the Bombos tablet for us, so we'll see if anything falls from the sky that is of value, and it is just triple bombs.
Triple bombs very welcome in the early game, not so welcome at this point. 114 in, looking for one item. Now we could still be wanting Quake. Neither of our runners have Quake yet, and it could still be required from Misery Miner. We won't know that, of course, until we have those mitts.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do not know our requirements for those two crystals, as you need the bits to be able to even see them.
Where was Ether? I don't remember where Ether was.
Ether was... Well,
somebody in chat must know. Where was Ether? Spike Cave for Ether.
Yes,
thank you very much.
yes.
Shoutouts to Jixon.
That's our tracker.
Man, no one wants to go in the swamp. I want to go in the swamp. Let's go swamp. Nope. And daotmb, as predicted, gonna do a little bit of swag hammer strats down there to get to the Dark World portal. Yoshi gonna go over to the dig game meanwhile, and we'll see where he goes from there because he's at a dead end at this point without those mitts.
And yes, to answer Forbidden War, they have checked the shovel spot in the Forbidden Grove, so that has been checked as well. It was, I believe, just a piece of heart, maybe big 20.
Yeah, it was nothing, whatever it was.
Yeah, very inconsequential, and it was so checked so early, put it out of my mind very fast. All right, so a big moment of truth here for daotmb. What is behind the green pendant? It's the Tempered Sword. That is a pretty nice upgrade.
It's definitely a welcome upgrade, especially with so many locations being locked by mitts. So the fourth sword upgrade is likely to be hidden enough that Yoshi may not pick it up, and Yoshi's already shown an unwillingness to go and fight Mothula, especially with that fighter sword, with the master sword. So that could be an advantage going up towards Ganon's Tower. It just depends on when each of our runners finds those Titan Smiths.
daotmb will, unless Yoshi happens to find the fourth sword upgrade in his path as he just goes through things, that will give daotmb an advantage just going through everything, going through the tower and gauntlet, killing bosses. Those will make up seconds for him, and again, just making up some of that time that he lost from that crash.
So we're running out of overworld here. It's looking like it's in swamp. I'm trying to think of other places it could be, and barring some fetch quest shenanigans, it's not really looking like it could be anywhere but swamp.
Yeah, whether it's behind the powder, the powder's got to be in here to get them to that. So I think this is the last location from everything that we've seen that is where it's got to be. The progression is in here.
So with Quake still being an open question, if you find mitts right in this chest, do you just leave? What are we doing here? Yoshi's gonna just leave. We are in maybe go mode. We're gonna find out. He's got a 2 in 3 shot at this point at being in go mode.
If I'm Yoshi,
we're going over to the Mire area. We're gonna find out right now.
Yeah, and if I'm Yoshi, I'm feeling really comfortable making that decision. You've got like you said, 2 out of 3 chances that you've got both medallions, or the one in this could possibly be. You've got to be feeling good about this decision. And because those Titan Smiths were so early in Swamp, if you have to go back for whatever reason, you didn't lose a lot of time. Was that Quake?
I missed it.
That looks like it might have been Quake to me. It might have been Bombos.
It must be Quake, because otherwise he wouldn't go to Mire's Shed. So we got a hunt on. We still got a race as Yoshi picks up some half magic. Yeah, it's gotta be Quake.
Getting the confirmation in chat. Definitely in Quake, so we rescind that maybe go mode.
Why do we call it no mode? Should it be stop mode? Or would we rather just have like the go no instead of go stop? I don't know, I like stop mode. We're in stop mode.
Yeah, stop mode.
Everybody stop.
Yep, stop mode. So now the question...
Quake Yeah, I mean, with so do you go back to Swamp? Do you go up to Death Mountain and check that out? And do you go, where else do you go? Because there's a lot of options here as far as where those Titan Smiths open things up. Do you do the Smith sequence? A lot of options. So we'll see where Yoshi goes as Daotom's still making his way through Palace of Darkness. Gonna be disappointed at the end of this, but if he goes to Swamp after, which I believe is his only option, and then chooses something different from Yoshi, maybe he goes through Swamp and goes to that left side of Swamp, while Yoshi is getting dead rocked and is hanging out on Death Mountain with the Dead Rocks. It could put him ahead. So this is still anybody's race. I am not comfortable saying one person is winning over the other, just because of how many locations Quake could be in at this point.
Yeah, it could be inside of Turtle Rock at any point, depending on what medallion is required for Turtle Rock. And I believe that's what Yoshi's decision is. He's going to take these Titan's Mitts, finish clearing Death Mountain, and see what is required for Turtle Rock. If it's Quake, well, then he can't go in. But I think we'll see him dive Turtle Rock if it is indeed either Bombos or Ether. If it's Ether, that lends another question to how long does it take Daotom to go to Spike Cave?
With Dark Death Mountain having such a high density of items between Super Bunny Cave as well as Hookshot Cave and that Spike Cave, it's pretty likely he'll be up here pretty quick once he gets those. But again, this could be something in Swamp.
It'll definitely be interesting to see where Quake is hiding out, and also we will very quickly be able to see what the requirement for Turtle Rock is as Yoshi's about to head out of the cave systems.
Now, if you're Yoshi, are you hoping for Quake here? Or are you hoping for one of your other medallions? Do you want to take that Turtle Rock dive? Do you want to clear it right now? Or would you rather clear it later?
I think you would rather it not be Quake, so that way you can just go through it as fast as possible. Now, while Turtle Rock is not the fastest go mode dungeon, there are a few things that you can do to make it a little bit quicker if you know you don't need to check anything else. And so I think he's hoping it could be Quake so that he can just kind of go through and know that one last item he's looking for.
Well, we're going to find out pretty shortly here as he heads over to the Turtle Rock area, and we'll take a look, and it is Ether. So we will have the ability to full clear this right now. And might as well. We're here. Let's do it.
Yeah. Again, Quake can very likely be in here. So now Daotom's going to find out, depending on if he bails out of Swamp very quickly or not. Eventually he will find out that he does not have the medallion for either of these dungeons. I agree with you that he'll very likely be heading to Spike Cave when he does come up this way with those Titan's Mitts. But, that could be something that he delays for a while. As soon as he sees Turtle Rock's requirement is not accessible, that might push him over that way, though.
Now, Quake and Turtle Rock is going to give Yoshi quite a lead here, as Chad points out. But if Daotom continues down with only Bombos, he may want to continue in Swamp Palace, or even return to Swamp Palace after checking what Meyer and Turtle Rock are, to try to find that Quake medallion.
Yes, indeed. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, if we see Yoshi get the Quake, it's going to be really hard for Daotom to come back. Oh, there's the Quake.
And the first chest check. So we have go mode for Yoshi at 122.42.
And that is an official go mode this time. And yeah, that is definitely going to be something that's going to make it really hard for Daotom to come back from at this point. He's still got to go to Swamp, and then he's likely going to go to Meyer. That crash is really coming back to haunt him now. I think we can say that Yoshi definitely has the lead now.
It's not so much that the crash that hurt him here. It's more that he just happened to do everything that Yoshi did. Had he played a little bit riskier and routed things a little bit differently, it definitely still could have gone his way despite the crash. So it's just kind of, it was the crash's fault in that they would be neck and neck at this point if that hadn't happened. But if he had chosen differently, he could easily be 5-10 minutes in the lead instead.
And that is very true. That's kind of one of those things. Maybe he felt like he was taking gambles by making the decisions he has, trying to make up for that. And it's hard to really say. It's how differently may have Daotom played this seed had that not happened. He might have making different decisions. It's really an interesting, dilemma that, it's can't really say whether maybe he plays it the exact same. It's really hard to say.
And taking a little bit of damage to that Chain Chomp room, but getting through, gets the big key and on his way. 3.5 hearts remaining, should be plenty, especially with blue mail. But with no powder to refill his hearts, we could see this getting a little dicey towards the end. Might want to consider using that safety door.
Yeah, and with no powder, we'll not be able to make use of the plentiful amounts of anti-fairies in here. Unfortunately, there's a lot in here, and this is one of the dungeons where having that powder can be very beneficial, as lots of enemies deal lots of damage like those chain chomps just did.
And unfortunately, he didn't save his mushroom, as we mentioned was possible earlier, so he won't be able to use the powder trick to get free powder uses. And instead, he's going to turn into a Bidoof. Everybody likes Bidoof. So not going to check that vanilla big key chest. He's content with just his Master Sword. Likely going to have Master Sword the entire way. He's leaving a lot of chests unchecked throughout this game. Going to go through the rest of these dungeons in go mode. So we'd not be surprised to see a Master Sword Ganon. Not going to take the gamble about the small key in the big key chest. Got to go through here and be sure he is only making one trip.
Definitely smart to just be as safe as possible. You don't want to have to backtrack and make additional trips. Alright, so Daotm is indeed headed into Swamp Palace, and Yoshi smartly taking a death there to get a nice health refill. Very, very good decision by his part before going any further to get some extra health right before going into the final little bit of the dungeon.
Yeah, gonna go up. Might as well take it here. Gets the small key in the chest, so he should be okay for the rest of this dungeon and the rest of this game, really. As Daotm gonna head in and get his Titan's Mitts very shortly. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for him because he's gonna have only really just a 1 in 6 chance of being in go mode at this point.
Yeah,
with all of the information he has available to him, so we might see him full clear Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what decision he makes, knowing, like you said, that 1 in 3 chance of being in go mode. And we know that he has 0 chance because the 2 that he does not have are the 2 that he needs.
We do see a little bit of pumping while he's swimming. That's very impressive. So pumping generally something that's only done when you're walking, but you can do pumping while swimming. It's a little bit trickier to do, but shows Daotom's practice as far as NMG goes. So still able to execute at a high level, despite being having every reason in the world to get flustered here. And he is going to take, fortunately, that quick exit out of Swamp Palace with his newly found golden mitts.
And I think we'll see him head straight to the mire area, as well as it is a quicker check to find out what that crystal or that medallion requirement is. Even if you can get in there, then you go in. If not, you know that. And oh, he's actually heading to ice.
I mean, I'm happy that he's at least doing something different. Unfortunately, this is just going to end up being much slower for him. He's going to lose even more time, as Yoshi will be able to do a go mode Ice Palace, which is much, much faster. Also, shout-outs to Helpasaur King in chat. Big fan of the Helpasaur King bot in both Discord and in Twitch chat, apparently. I just like the name Helpasaur.
That is pretty awesome. But yeah, as you pointed out, Ice Palace and Go Mode versus full clearing is quite the major difference. And now the interesting thing is does he treat this as Go Mode and just kind of go through and get the crystal? He doesn't know if he needs either of the other medallions. So.
He's down to 1 heart here. He's going to have a little bit of a hard time against this final Trinex phase. So we'll see if he goes down. That half magic really saving him. He missed a bunch of those Ice Rod and Fire Rod shots. So gets the first one. Oh, he's got a potion. Everything's cool.
Yeah, he went and filled that up before heading in. Very smart decision to use it there. You do not want to take it down.
Hammer strats. There we go. Look at that. Very aggressive hammer strats. Very nice call. Didn't get hit after using the potion. Seems to be always the case.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you don't use the potion, you take the hit because you're so much more nervous about not taking the hit that you're kind of make bad decisions. And so when you have the full health, you're like, oh, I got this. And you just go through and you do it cleanly.
Do we really not have a Yoshi sprite?
Surprisingly, no, we do not.
Who's in charge? I'd like to have a word.
Yeah, that is definitely an interesting decision. Yoshi is my all-time favorite Nintendo character. I just absolutely love that little guy.
I'm gonna have to go with Waluigi on that one.
Waluigi's pretty great too. Much preferred Waluigi to Wario.
Oh, and Daotom, after successfully taking that bomb jump, takes a fall to the fire bar. Thinks about going on a route that would make it bomb jump not required, but comes back, sets it up, looks good, right across that gap again. I guess the other thing he got by leaving and re-entering is he gets those pots back to hookshot as Yoshi quakes his way into Misery Mire.
Even though he reset the pots, he ended up not using them to hookshot across. But, you know, it had him there just in case that's the route he wanted to go.
Either way, we're through here in Ice Palace. Gonna go get some items now, as Yoshi's gotta go get some items too. Everybody's getting items. That's good. That's what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Yoshi just wants to find a key and a big key, and then he'll be happy.
I'm getting a little punchy. It's 1:30.
Not that late. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's only 11:30. Alright, so as Yoshi is heading into Mire, again in go mode, he finds that big key and a small key. He is going to be able to go straight for Vitreous and be able to go right through here. And of course, this could be one of those things that you still have to full clear the place, because depending on where that big key is and the routing they go, it can be in any of these chests, and Mire can be really long or really fast.
So Daotom going right for Cold Stare, skipping some of the items available to him. An interesting choice, especially as he knows he needs at least Quake.
Daotom never went to the Mires. He doesn't know that he needs Quake.
He doesn't even know he needs Quake?
No, he went...
I mean, he's got, with just Bombos in his inventory, he knows he's got a 1 in 6 chance of being in go mode, so those are not very good odds.
No, he went... Yeah, that's exactly it. He went straight for Ice after Swamp. And so, interesting decision not to try to full clear the place, but he got a couple of chests.
I was calling for him to gamble, and that is certainly a gamble.
That is a major...
It will pay off, believe it or not. It will pay off because he got to do the go mode Ice.
Yes.
So he's going to go over the Mire area now, get that information. Generally, players are going to want to get that information earlier.
Yeah,
but,
interesting decision.
We'll see.
Now, once he sees this, is he going to be worried and be like, oh, crap, did I just leave something in Ice? And maybe head back there before going up to Turtle Rock?
No, he's not going to go back there. He's already committed to that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You got to commit to your decisions. Like you said earlier, you kind of got to commit to what decisions you make.
Yoshi's swimming in small keys over there. 3 keys in Mire. None of those are going to get used. Oh, maybe one of them will get used.
One, I believe, depending on where this big key is.
They don't call it Happy Fun Time, Mire.
No, they do not. So there is definitely give yourself a little bit of a break there as you wait for that wall to move. And we have our big key in its vanilla location. Yeah,
Daotom not going up to Death Mountain where he needs to. Those were his final 2 go mode items are. So he's going back into Swamp Palace. This is going to be really, really difficult to come back from.
Yeah.
Big Bomb? Oh, he's doing Big Bomb. Well, still. It's not going to pay off.
Okay, so that was his decision, I guess, in doing Ice Palace when he did. He was thinking of that Big Bomb to get those 2 items. And with having killed Agahnim and having the mirror, we're able to get to see the quick way of turning this in. But like you said, it's not going to pay off. I mean, the best thing that it could be for him is Butter Sword. And
this is still a fantastic, like, this is still a good gamble, though. This is much better gamble than I initially realized it to be. Because you want to save, you know your opponent's going to go through Ice Palace. And you know that if Big Bomb has something, in all likelihood, your opponent is not going to go mode Ice Palace. So if you can go mode Ice Palace and still get the benefit by doing the Big Bomb here, then that is a huge time save. So I like this gamble, even though we know it's not going to pay off. And indeed, 305 rupees is all Daotome collects. So gonna have to come up with something new now to do.
Yeah, it's like he's
Quakefish. I don't believe he's done that part of the overworld yet.
I believe you are right. And I mean, it's like you said, he needs to make some big gambles, and that was definitely one of them. Unfortunately, it's not the one that he had needed to make earlier.
But gambles are good. Just because something doesn't pay off doesn't mean it wasn't the right play. So I think that was I think that was the right play from Daotome.
Yeah,
and
from his perspective,
arrows
I agree.
Poking through these eyes. Don't know how I feel about that. There's a lot of eyes in this game. These developers really like the eyes.
Yeah, it's like they're keeping an eye on you or something.
I prefer walking ones to bouncing ones.
Indeed, the bouncing ones, a little scary.
Hey, all that goop on them. That's gross.
Yeah.
So Quakefish with nothing for Daotome. He's gonna take a flute now. He can go to Death Mountain. He can go back in the swamp. He can go. That's it. Those are the two places. Oh, he could do Smith Sequence.
He could have gone
back to Death Mountain though.
He could have gone back into Ice. Again, I don't think we would have seen him do that. Would have done Swamp and Death Mountain well before that. I would have to agree with you on that. So yeah, here he goes up to Death Mountain, which is the right play as far as we know, and definitely the right play. Oh, does not get his hook shot across. That falls across the bridge a little bit. Easy fix.
So meanwhile, Yoshi has picked up a couple extra crystals, so Yoshi on his way to fight Landmo here. This is something Daotome has already done, so this is a little bit of a time gain for Daotome, I guess.
It is indeed a little bit of time game for him, but it's, again, he's down two bosses, one boss to Yoshi. Actually, they're equal on crystals, but Yoshi's are going to be very fast compared to Daotome's.
We got a question in chat that was answered in chat. Yeah, either was in Spike Cave. I'm going to say it out loud anyway, because I was already committed to saying it, and I already started talking about it before I saw the answers.
You gotta love when that happens.
I'm going to preempt the next question. Where was Quake? Quake is in the, I don't know, the first Chessie check in Turtle Rock. So now Daotome knows he is 2 items away from go mode.
Yeah, and now he's got to find that ether to be able to get into Turtle Rock to get to his Quake. And he's going to check probably everything over on this side of Dark Death Mountain before heading over to Spike Cave. Hopefully that's still something that he's thinking about and realizing that he has not checked.
So Yoshi making quick work of Landmolus with that Fire Rod and Half Magic, putting those to work. 2 Fire Rod shots per head is more than enough to get that crystal. And Yoshi does have silvers, but sometimes it's fun to spam the Fire Rod.
Yes. Especially once you get that Half Magic and you don't have to worry about running out.
So what's he got? He's got a Go Mode Ice, and then we're going to Ganon's Tower. So
that's it.
We're looking at Master Sword Ganon right now, but with silvers, so not too bad.
Yep. Master Sword Silver, definitely going to be a lot slower than Tempered Silver, but he's got a pretty significant time advantage. You're going to have to take some a pretty rough Ice Go Mode and Ganon's Tower to get Daotome back in this match.
So Daotome going to go over and pick up his ether now. That'll lead him to his Quake and to the end of the game. So both of our runners pretty much going to rely on execution for the remainder of this. Not a lot more as far as routing decisions to be made. Daotome will have Go Mode Mire to do, and Yoshi will have, as well as the Go Mode Turtle Rock, and Yoshi will just have this Go Mode Ice. So a full dungeon behind is Daotome. Full dungeon and a half. maybe 2 dungeons. No, a dungeon and a half.
I
Yoshi,
was
picking up this item down here. Don't know why. He gets a bug net.
hoping for tempered. My guess, he's hoping for a sword upgrade.
Yeah, he could be hoping for sword upgrade. He could not know how to do bomb jump, although that would shock me at this point.
Yeah, indeed. Having seen some of the other execution strats he's been doing would be very shocking indeed. But, I mean, I would even venture to say because of the 2 dungeons that daotmb is behind, I'd say he is 2 full dungeons behind just because they are going to be much slower, especially with where that big key placement was in Mire.
Now, that being said, he's still close enough that this could still be a race. I mean, you never know how Moldorm's feeling. You never know how Aga 2 is feeling. You don't know where that big key is in Ganon's Tower. Maybe he decides because of the crash he's way far behind and decides to do Tile Room first, and maybe it pays off. So who knows? There's still ways in which this is a very close race. So we're gonna have to hold on here. Stay tuned. We're gonna get through this.
Indeed, we will, and it will be exciting with however it plays out. It's definitely going to be exciting to see how our runners do in their respective boss fights and how they take care of Ganon. I mean, Yoshi being on Master Sword, how comfortable, how well will he perform doing those strategies on those first 3 phases? That is getting those spin hits. It takes a lot of time, and it's a lot more nerve-wracking than if you have Tempered Sword.
What happened? Like, I'm over here yawning my head off here as these runners are going through and probably got tons of adrenaline pumped through their system. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm old. I think that's the problem. I'm not 20 anymore, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it's kind of what happens when you get old, and it's the unfortunate side effects. And, oh no, daotmb freezing again. If that's another crash. Oh, no, maybe.
Could just be a little lag. We'll give him a chance to catch back up. He enters Turtle Rock. He looks okay now. He's shaking it off. Yoshi does really want that sword. He's doing I imagine he's not doing quite a full clear, but he's going to do pretty close.
Yeah, and I mean, that is the only thing I can imagine that he is looking for. The other thing would be a mirror shield or the red mail, but I think Tempered Sword is the preferred upgrade at this point, as daotmb gets his Quake and is now in go mode. So Yoshi is going to drop in on Cold Stare with a full set of magic. He's going to pull the Bombos out, break Cold Stare out of his icy shell there, and probably pull out that Fire Rod to make this a much easier fight. I like the decision to use the Bombos here. Saves a lot of your magic for the actual fight on the Puffballs.
Yeah, the Fire Rod does level 4 sword damage here, so it's just really fast. Especially with half magic, you get a lot of it. But Cold Stare hugs again with the weird eyeballs. I don't like the puffy ones. I like the walking ones.
Yeah, and using your Fire Rod is much preferred to using the Master Sword in that fight. And man, that's I don't know about these eyeballs in this game.
Yeah,
man.
No, like there's the Argus is like a big eyeball. There's like just, I mean, Moldorm isn't a big eyeball, but he's pretty goofy looking with his eyeballs. Spin around like googly eyes.
Yeah.
All the bosses should be Moldorm, I feel. Or they should all have eyes that like spin like Moldorm. That'd be good.
That would be quite. I mean, Moldorm's already got a little bit of comicalness in him with that. If you just imagine every boss's eyes kind of spun around like that, and the way that they are, that would be quite the thing that they threw into the game.
Where's Yoshi going? What's he checking?
He's
got everything. Is he doing Big Bomb? He wants that Tempered
He
Sword.
really wants a sword upgrade. Yoshi.
Too bad.
So this could be something that might, if Yoshi really is this uncomfortable with his
he's getting the third bottle.
Master Sword.
Yeah, that's what it is. So he knows he can get a third bottle here.
And with Master
he can
Sword,
still
that's
check
smart. That's actually really smart. And being already pre-filled with green goo, he'll be able to use that cape that he has much more liberally. It's actually a pretty good safety decision.
And this is where practice comes in, because he could, by round 7 or 12 or however long this tournament's going, he won't need this bottle. He'll have plenty of practice under his belt. with these Master Sword Ganon fights. Throws a Fire Rat shot out there for good measure. Might as well. And then flutes away. We'll see if he goes and trades that bottle in for something else. So shoots that Fire Rat off. That way he can use that green potion. You can't use a green potion if you got full magic. Gets a kiss from the witch lady for some full health, and then dumps that green potion on the floor and picks up another blue one.
And he forgot to drink that green goo before trying to buy it. Oops, there's a little quick fix on that.
Whoa, bucko.
And daotmb having a tempered sword, knowing he's in go mode, and he's got to feel pretty behind with that crash. So he is just going through, passing every chest possible. He will not delay his chance of his advancement towards Ganon as Yoshi gets Deadrock. Yet again, those things. Worst character in the game.
You can quake him
I
to
hate
death.
him.
Oh man, he got Deadrock twice. He can quake him to death. Quake him to death in rage.
Or just keep hookshotting him in rage.
We'll just keep hookshotting him. If you get 2 hookshots off real quick, you can like hookshot them and then hookshot them again to push them further away. But he wasn't quite in position to do that. So
yeah, it's definitely tough to do with the hookshot. You can do that with your sword as well. A little bit easier to do because you're closer to him.
no, but like you can hit him twice. So you can like hit him with a hookshot once, push him away from you, and then hit him with a hookshot again, and then it'll hit them like at such a timing where it pushes them away an additional time. It's nice. It's really cool to look at. It's really easy to do though.
And it is when you get it off. The first time it happens, if you didn't know what happened, you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, and that's the case with a lot of tricks in these games. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, wow, these runners are really good. First of all, they are. Second of all, you can do this too. Join our Discord. Come, hang out. Ask us what's going on. How do we get started? And you'll find stuff like those bomb jumps and ice palace. They're not as hard as they look. And they feel like this game lets you feel like you're cheating without cheating, which turns out is like a really good quality in a game to have. So there's a lot of fun to be had with the randomizer. And if you're, on the fence about getting into it, you're not quite sure, you don't think speedrunning's for you, like, give it a shot. Give it a shot. There's no pressure, but give it a shot. Now we're gonna get a guessing game going. I don't know how to start the guessing game. How do you do the guessing game? They just made an announcement today. Do you know how to do it?
Oh, yes, but it's a little late. We were supposed to do that on the final boss fight, so we're gonna have to stop it here in just like 5 seconds. So get him in real fast.
Hurry up. Hurry up.
All right, and we're stopping it. So hopefully you got your guesses in that very quick route there. Got a little slow. We didn't have it until just today, so sorry, folks. Totally got distracted by everything else and did not get that in. So we'll see.
I'm just tired, man. This is 2 a.m. All right, so nothing on Bob's torch, so Bob's gonna live.
And that is 3 locations so far for Yoshi.
Hi-Yo asking what happened. Good question. I have no idea. We're gonna go check out this Stalfos room though, see if it's got any big keys in it or sword upgrades.
It could have our final upgrade, or it could have that big key. The 4th location is a piece of heart. 5th is another key, and we got another piece of heart, which gives Yoshi a full refill. That's nice. And the 7th location, excuse me, it was the map. So far, no big key.
Daotmb, I'm going to take a long journey through Misery Mire only to find a vanilla big key. This will be his last crystal, so he'll be up after that. If he goes tile room first and ends up being tile room, that's not bad, especially with that tempered sword over the master sword.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be something that can make a huge difference, especially if it is in that tile room. He makes that big gamble, as the 8th location is just 10 arrows for Yoshi. So if you've guessed 1 through 8, unfortunately, you do not get to win today.
Oh, who won the blue ball thing? You've committed now to recording a voice message for someone.
Did somebody say 0?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody said 0. That's a good point. Balking off that wall to get around that fire bar, that's a fun looking strat. You can also do a hook shot to get some iframes. While you're shooting a hook shot, you can't get hurt because, I don't know, that seems fine. And So yeah, gonna go to the rando room now. I don't know what numbers these are. I think this is like
10, 11, 12,
through...
and 13. If I'm
those
counting
numbers,
correctly.
they're in order and everything. So I'm gonna get these 4 chests. This room is called the rando room because in the vanilla game, there's no reason to come into this room. The only reason you come into this room is because you're playing rando. But just some bombs and some monies, and we're gonna go ahead and mirror out. We're going right side. We don't like fighting our side most. It's all slippery and stuff down there. So this is this the VTorp route? I think this is the route VTorp takes.
It does all the way up the 4 almost, and then it goes right side.
I think so. I think this is the VTorp route.
Now, I know the Dark Magician's route is the you get the keys out, get the keys and go into the Stalfos room with those 4 chests, and once you get enough keys, you go right. So that's some route. There's a lot of different ways you can go through Ganon's Tower, and there's no right way because you never know where that big key is.
No, the right way is to go full left. Like, get those 2 chests and then go full left. That's the right way. Don't let anybody tell you different. Alright, so we're going We're gonna burn some Gibdos. Daotom's going. He gets his big key. He's gonna go see the eyeballs, give him a poke with those silver arrows. And as Yoshi, still looking for that big key. We got it in
Yes, number
chest right
14, I believe.
You got it, number 14. What's in tile room in vanilla? I think it's like a single arrow. No, it's a key. It's a small key. It's a small key.
I'm just gonna verify that 14 is indeed the correct chest that we got before I insert that in as the final answer. So
Excellent.
one moment. Getting confirmation in chat as well that it's 14. So
that's not a good thing for me to do right now. Counting's not gonna be good. Yoshi gonna go through this spike room though, avoids the mimics, steps on a little bit of spikes, takes a little bit of damage, saves a little bit of time. Gonna manipulate these mimics now such that he can kill them. So just kind of walks around the room, doesn't do what a lot of runners do, which is either you use your sword slashes and continue to hold the direction, which will force the mimics to continue moving, or you can just grab the wall. And it's a little bit trickier than that, but it's not much trickier. You press like the A button twice instead of once, and then you grab the wall, and then you can move them around, and they think you're moving because why not? What a great game! Listen, people in the 80s and early 90s programming in assembly for the Super Nintendo, they didn't have a lot to work with, and I don't know, it was probably hard. And you see Yoshi taking advantage of some iframes here to dash across this bridge. Gonna stop off in the refill room, get that bug net, maybe gonna trade in one of those blue potions for a fairy perhaps, or maybe just gonna make sure he's got full health, full magic for the upcoming gauntlet, and that looks like the case. So this is also interesting. It's the only spot in the game where you are expected to bonk, which is the act of dashing into something using the boots to knock you backwards over a gap.
yes, indeed. And Faye wins is our winner with the Big Key guessing game, guessing 13. You were the closest. Congratulations. You get your first win of the Spring 2018 Randomizer Tournament.
And Yoshi gonna put those sword beams to work on those Stalfos. They can do a lot of jumping around and stuff away from your sword, but they have a much more difficult time with sword beams. These, what are they called? Zigzags?
The Zax, I believe, something like that.
Yeah,
they're
that's
weird.
what it said. They're horsemen. And Yoshi, don't know how he feels about killing a fellow horse, but gonna take them down to advance through this game. Still has full hearts, just lost it there though. Pushes that last horseman into the spikes to kill him. That fire rod, very good against that final Stalfos, and just gonna take the horse on fire for the last kill. No powder to powder this bunny beam, so we're going right into Landmo 2. Gonna do the silvers this time. He was good at spamming the fire rod for Landmo 1 in Desert Palace, but doesn't quite have the magic to spare here. Still need a bunch of it for later on. Gets hit by the fireball, still gets the arrow off to get the 2 cycle on Landmo 2. Heading up the stairs, gonna go see some Wizrobes now, I guess. Meanwhile, Daotom's making his climb up towards Ganon's tower.
Yes, indeed. And did very good gauntlet for having the Master Sword for Yoshi there. Like you said, made really good use of those sword beams to take care of them. They can be really difficult creatures to eliminate. as he heads into the second room of the Wiz Robes and just barely misses the sword slashes. Does not quite get the fourth one, the one cycle there, but takes care of him on the second go around and is just about to head through the final rooms before Moldorm 2.
Plenty of keys, plenty of magic, plenty of hearts. He's got nothing to worry about. Just going to keep a cool head at this point, which both of our runners have shown a fantastic job of doing up to this point in the race. And 154, looks like we're going to get in just over 2 hours.
Yeah, and with having to look for those time limits for as long as they did, it's a really well-run race for both our runners. Looks like daotmb is getting the key and deciding that he wants to go left side, not go take the right side gamble, which would be in his favor in this particular instance.
And Yoshi going to pick up these last couple of chests here, hoping to get that sword. Really doesn't want to do Master Sword Ganon, because who does?
And, you know, those chests aren't too incredibly far out of the way, and if it is Tempered Sword, the time checking those chests for Tempered Sword would be more than made up by getting it. So it's definitely worth the check if you are Yoshi.
Taking a little bit of a beating in that room. Doesn't have quite full hearts, but it does have those 3 blue potions, so plenty of room. Pulls out the hammer to go for those Moldorm tables, and Moldorm gets a kill. I guess it's not a kill, but it's still, Moldorm gets a point.
Yeah, that is, I believe, the second knockdown for Moldorm on Yoshi. I think Moldorm 1 got him as well. Alright, so now you're getting to the point in the race and where if either runner, you're approaching 2 hours. And that is a pretty standard time for these randomized races. You haven't seen your opponent hit done yet. You gotta be feeling, if you're Yoshi, feeling pretty good that maybe you have a chance of winning this. You're really close, but super nervous at the same time, expecting your opponent to hit that anytime as he takes a third fall to Moldorm, and those nerves have got to be getting to him.
I mean, Moldorm's certainly getting to him, if nothing else here. But he's gonna figure it out. He's more than capable of doing this. Just gonna get a little bit of better RNG on Moldorm, and he'll be fine. I mean, there's nobody like I followed Moldorm all the time. My wife makes fun of me. It's very embarrassing.
Very quick work of him that time, and gets his revenge finally on the Troll Dorm, and he will hookshot across, likely checking this chest for the compass. Unfortunately, no sword upgrade, so Yoshi is going in with Master Sword. Does have those syllables for that final phase, but will have to Master Sword through the first 3. Like you said, though, does have 3 blue bottles, and with that cape, should have no major problems, but we'll see how he does.
Only 5 hearts here. Gonna want to be a little bit careful. Oh man, my accent's showing through. That's not a good sign. Gets a first hit on the blue ball. Yeah, no, you don't want my accent showing through. Almost gets the double there, so he's got 2 hits so far as daotmb. Gonna go check out Ice Armos. Again, unfortunately not the play. Doesn't have the powder to get rid of our glitch sprite here, Bob. Instead, just gonna take a beating from Bob. I don't think we're getting any bug net swag on this fight. Is generally once you start getting up to around 2 hours, you don't want to risk any swag.
Who barely gets that final hit off after accidentally hitting Agahnim, down to 3.5 hearts. We're probably going to see him jump right into that cape and burn through his magic before using his first blue potion. We want to try to get the most effect out of those.
I have a question. Is your name Bradley, but you really like bread?
My name is Bradley, and the name came from an accidental. And bread's not a huge thing for me. I do enjoy it, but
what are you talking about? Why wouldn't bread be a huge thing for you? Why do you hate bread, Bradley?
I enjoy bread. It's good stuff. But my cousin was asking if I wanted some bread, and he mixed my name with asked if I wanted some bread, and that's kind of where I got this name from.
Shout outs to Bradley's cousin.
Yeah, that would be Trell.
Did you tell him no? Did you tell him
no? I just started laughing really hard, and I said, okay, I do.
Was it fresh bread? What kind of bread was it?
It was white bread. It was pretty good.
It's just regular white bread.
Yeah, it had some cheese on it. Cheese bread, really
That's
good.
it? Just like a slice of cheese on the bread?
So good. Cheese bread's amazing. Daotome does get his big key and bounces right out and is now up Ganon's tower. Yoshi did take off to he decided to go get the blue potion and heal up the hearts before going in. Not a bad decision. He is making sure he's got everything fully guaranteed, fully set off for this fight for Ganon. He does not want to die or lose deep into this fight.
She gets some whole grain bread. Look at that. Cannon says half of our daily grains come from whole grain. You get some whole grain bread. No more of that white bread stuff.
That is delicious stuff.
It's boring.
So I do like it, but that's all we had available. When you're doing cheese bread, it's better with white.
Oh man, we're gonna have a discussion after this. Right now, we're gonna start counting swings here on Ganon. Now, this is something where patience is really gonna pay off. You really want to be patient here. You don't want to jump in, get those extra hits every single time. You're just gonna run yourself into a panic. You're going to end up taking a bunch of extra damage from that the homing trident or whatever it is. Take your chance. So that's 2 hits so far. We need a total of 12. Pull out the cape. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think this is a great decision.
6. Might as well use it to its full potential here. That's 8. That's 10. One more here. Plenty of magic to get that 12th hit in. And knows it. Very good at counting here at 2 a.m. And takes a hug from Ganon. Might want to consider using that potion in the near future. And agrees and does. Meanwhile, Daotome having a pretty good gauntlet so far. Just having a little bit of trouble getting that horseman on fire.
Yeah, and, you know, Yoshi played that really well. Took full advantage of that blue potion by burning all the way through his magic and even taking extra damage, whether intentional or not, but he did get those hits on Ganon. Getting some mean teleports here, though, for this 3rd hit. Gets it off and does not allow the fire bats to come out and create more fire. One more hit, and then he's on to the final phase, which, with those silvers, will become a lot easier for him.
Going for torch glitch here. So normally both of these torches go out in the bottom, and it makes this into a pretty gloomy room situation here. Can't see Ganon, can't hurt Ganon while both of those torches are out. So instead, what you can do is if you light that first torch, the second it goes out, the other torch never goes out. Why? I don't know. It seems fine. And the 4th hit on Ganon, the big pig is dead with the smoosh to the dome. And now we're going to go through the bridge. Yoshi holds his sword up in his air with the Pikachu sprite. And we're all still wondering, why is there no Yoshi sprite? Yoshi seems like a pretty popular character. I would have expected there to be a Yoshi sprite. And into the Triforce room, Yoshi finishes. I don't have the race open. I don't know the official time, but he's done. And he is sorry. So congratulations to Yoshi. GG's. Daotome actually ended up making it a really close race. I mean, look at it. He's most of the way up Ganon's tower here. Only got a couple rooms to go until Moldorm 2. So GG's to both of our runners for going through this very wide open yet pretty quick paced seed, despite being a 2-hour seed.
Yeah, very well done. Yoshi has an unofficial time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 49 seconds, as his tracker states there. Unfortunately, we do not get an official time, and we will not be able to see Daotome's time, as we lost his tracker on that crash. But yeah, like you pointed out, Daotome has made a very impressive run. That Tempered Sword, no doubt, being a big part of that. But he's also, I mean, throughout the whole race, has shown some really excellent execution. And so he's definitely made up quite the difference. Had Yoshi taken a fall on Ganon, that could have brought this race to within seconds of finishing. And Alpha Channel
time here. Oh, we'll get Yoshi in here for a what do you call it? An interview.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to join in with us. And Alpha Channel answer, yes, there was a crash. Daotome about pretty early on, maybe 30 minutes in, was checking desert and had a big crash. Put him about 15 minutes of check back. He lost quite a lot of progress, unfortunately. All right, but yeah, once again, GG's to both runners, and congratulations to Yoshi getting the win. He gets the win in round 1, and we'll see if we can bring him on up. And we are
GG's to Yoshi.
by Yoshi.
Congratulations. That was a heck of a seed. What'd you think?
It was pretty interesting. I honestly have no idea where my opponent is, and I was just nervous the whole time. So.
Well, you had every reason to be nervous the whole time. He's currently fighting Agahnim too. He had a little bit of a crashing problem earlier. Lost quite a bit of time, but still managed to put on a good show for us, catching back up best he could. So,
yeah, if he's already on Aga too, then yeah.
He's also got a tempered sword, which I think you might be interested in based on your gameplay.
Yeah, where was that?
Green pendant.
Oh.
Yeah, he ended up giving Mothiel the business with the Master Sword and getting a tempered sword as a prize there. So,
I guess
don't know where the gold sword was.
He's been able to use that to his advantage, and like we said, been making up some time, and yeah, it's definitely a huge advantage on Ganon's Ganon fight. Though very well done with your Master Sword strategies there. Went through both phases, and nice job there.
Yeah, I had a lot of bad experiences with Master Sword Ganon before, but given how I did it, I think the problem is with Cape, it's just so much easier, especially with half magic. I shouldn't have been so cautious.
I mean, it ended up working out for you. Can't argue with success, and you're 1-0, and you're going to be able to take that success the next round. I do have a question though. When you're going up and you just have Bombos and Ether, and you just get to Titan's Mitts, is there any consideration to, do you either want to go through the rest of Swamp Palace to see if Quake is in there, or is there any consideration to, once you're up on look at Pikachu's adorable, or once you're on Death Mountain, are you hoping for Turtle Rock to be Quake, or are you hoping for Turtle Rock to be a medallion you already have?
Definitely a medallion I already had, because, well, when I first mirrored out of Swamp, it's because I could have been in Go mode. I just didn't know what the medallions were, because the Titan's Mitch was locked for me so long. So I was kind of hoping Total Rock would be a medallion I had, because Total Rock is the most linear dungeon you have left. So if I go in there searching for, say, Quake, which I did, if I full cleared, it's not that much different from going through there normally, because you have to get a lot of keys.
And we'll come back to you in a second here as Daotm finishes off the Big Pig with the silver fork and walks across and finishes the game. GG's to Daotm. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation of his name. I asked him, and he was like, I don't care. He wouldn't tell me the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, we even have a little, pronunciation guide, and he says, I don't care, whatever's easy for you. So
yeah, he just likes how the letters look.
You just kind of like smash some letters in. I don't know. We'll see if we can get him in here for an interview. It looks like he's ready.
He's in here.
We'll bring him on up.
Give him in.
And there we are, joined by Daotm. So GG's to Daotm on finishing that race, especially after your crash there. It's quite unfortunate. But how are you feeling about the seed?
I got lucky there was nothing in ice, is what I'm feeling.
Hey, I think that was a good gamble. Walk us through your thinking and going through Ice Palace in Go mode, despite not being in Go mode yourself.
So GG's to Daotm.
I didn't get a small key, so it was going to be slow to check the 3 chests on the right, which were the only ones I really wanted to check anyway. And so when I didn't get the small key, I just said, well, I need to make up some time, so I'm just going for it. I think that was a good gamble. Especially since Pod had absolutely nothing.
Your thinking and going through Ice Palace
you ended up in Pod too?
Despite not being
full cleared it.
Yeah, so did I. That was what really was the thing that in the back of the mind that could have worried me a lot.
Well, I was very impressed with the Ice Palace gamble. I thought that was, even though it didn't work out for you, I still thought it was the right call going off. If there's something required in Fat Fairy and nothing required in Ice Palace, that would have been a guaranteed pickup of minutes.
So did I. That was what really was the thing. That
awesome job in that part. An awesome job keeping your head. Well, I was very impressed with the Ice Palace gamble. I thought that was, after that crash, even though it didn't work out for you, I still thought it was the right call going off. If there's something required, that really takes more than might be apparent to people who haven't been in pickup of tournament race at that point. So GG's to you, sir. awesome
Yeah.
job in that part.
So
Awesome
just
job
real quick,
keeping your
people were
head,
wondering
on
what
your
official
shoulders
times are. I know you guys have
after,
access to the
after
SRTV.
that
What
crash.
were the
That
official
was,
times for
there was
your
some
races?
heads-up gameplay.
I have
That really
2
takes
hours, 1 minute,
more
49
than
seconds.
might be apparent to.
And I had 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 39 seconds.
Scenario, so.
Yeah, very
GG's to you,
impressive
sir.
runs for both of you. And now,
Yeah.
Dutch, I do want to ask you,
So
how were you feeling when that crash happened? What was going through your mind in that moment?
I was just trying to think of the last place I saved and what I would have to make up.
You clearly played pretty well. Did not show a whole lot of panic in that moment. You just kind of kept going through, went back. You kind of were able to make a few decisions a little bit cleaner. Didn't go for Armos right off the bat again. But that's definitely something hard to recover from, and I would say you did a pretty dang good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to compliment you on that. Only 5 minutes behind me.
So unfortunately, though, one of you did have to take the loss. So daotmb, you're down 0-1 in the Swiss stages. What is your thought process? How are you feeling moving forward in the rest of this stage?
I really need to find a way to check fewer locations. I mean, I feel like I check ones that are on the way, but then I always feel like I check everything. And so, I don't know. I just got to find less stuff to check.
Yeah, V29 routing is something a lot of players are kind of searching for ways to improve throughout this tournament. So I expect with practice and just with the sheer number of rounds, I think we're playing 17 rounds of this over the next 17 weeks, I believe. With the number of players, we got like 3,000 players in this tournament. So it's around there. It's somewhere around there.
Yeah,
close.
So you get good at it by the end. I'm
by
sure.
the time it's fall, we'll have this over with.
Yeah. This will be good. Plenty of time. And the pocket change sleeps again forever. So GG's to both of you. It's 2:15. I'm going to bed. So,
all right.
Give these guys a follow. Their links are in chat. daotmb, you can go into his chat and tell him how he should pronounce his name. And then yoshi348, he was born in March of 1948, I assume, which is what
Sure,
that 348 is for. So shout out to those guys. Give them a follow. They're great runners. They're going places in this tournament. I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them in that top 128 bracket at the end of, 2020 or whenever this tournament's done. So, stick around. We got more randomizer action somewhere. We'll probably host someone. I know there's a match at least at like 1 a.m. So we can host that if nothing else. Can we raid? Do we have the ability to raid another channel?
I don't know if we do. There was a race to start an hour after this on Speed Gaming 2. And then there is another one that
send you over there or something.
Start in 45 minutes on this channel again. The one in the race right now is Sonyerev and ACMLM. Following on this exact channel is Yuki Saka and Rockland. There are a lot of races also tomorrow if you are not going to be able to stay up that late. So keep in tune. Lots of rando to follow.
All right. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you to Bradley. You get an upgrade from White Bread, though. And thank you to the restreamer and the tracker. Their tracker was Jixon. Nice fork tracking things. There's a lot to track. All right, we're leaving.
All right.
Go to bed.
Have a good night.
Let him see. Hang on. The Mega Patches wants to see the time first. He's got a fancy icon next to his name. We better do what he says. I don't know what that means. Oh, he went to TwitchCon.
Yeah, it's Twitch.
That's what it is.
So yeah, we will get to see what the in-game time difference was. That'll take off that time from the crash. That will actually be pretty interesting to see.
I feel like I got to come up with more questions now. No, we're just going to go quiet. That's it. Moment of silence.
I actually did want to ask Yoshi how he's feeling with the 1-0 victory going forward in the rest of the tournament.
It kind of sucks that my opponent crashed, but I want to stay positive. I definitely, got my first win down, got my first win in this tournament. I was in the Key Sanity tournament last winter or whatever. So I've gotten a kind of a better feel of how this works now, but definitely just, get the whole stage going and get used to a real race on Speed Racing TV and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously you got to win. I believe it's a 5-2 record that you'll need to make it out of the Swiss stage as one of the top 128. So obviously getting a win in the first round is big ways in getting that. So once again, congratulations to Yoshi getting that win. And Daotom, seeing your execution, the way you're able to come back from that crash, I would not be surprised to see either of you make it into that 128. So very, very well run race from both of you. It was quite a pleasure to be able to be here tonight and commentate for you guys. Watch this race. All right, we are getting close to that final little bit of information on Daotom's.
Nope, we're done. We're off.
We are done. We're out. We don't get to see it.
No one can even hear us.
Rip.
Oh.
Rip. It's out. So close.
Restream, cutting us down.
Oh, cut out. All right. Well, good night, you guys. Good night,
Good night.
Walking. I guess you sleep.